Chapter 1781. Jiang Chen shook his head and explained, "It's comfortable, but I still have to inquire about my disciple. There are other things waiting for me to deal with." "Your disciple is called Hikari, right?" Huaxian asked. "Yes, she was taken away by the sect master of the Black Sect." Jiang Chen exhaled a turbid breath and replied, "I'll investigate it for you." Huaxian took out a red crystal from his sleeve and continued, "Your strength is now at the 9th level of the Heaven Immortal Realm. It's better to let Huafu follow you. With her around, I'll be more at ease. This is the sensing crystal of our Blazing Phoenix tribe. If you encounter any danger, crush it, and I'll immediately sense it." "Thank you, Patriarch Huaxian." Jiang Chen took it and put it into his storage ring. "All right, let Huafu pack up when we get back. You can go back." Huaxian found it hard to accept leaving 2 juniors at once. After leaving this time, he didn't know when he would see them again. "I have to take one more person with me." Looking at Huaxian's sad appearance, Jiang Chen didn't have the heart to speak. "The outsider called Muyuda, right?" Before Jiang Chen said anything, Huaxian guessed who it was. "Hurry up and take him away. If we let him stay in our tribe, I'm afraid he'll take everything away sooner or later. You know about it?" Jiang Chen was taken aback. "Nonsense. There are only 4 or 5 outsider disciples in the entire Blazing Phoenix tribe. I just need to investigate a little, and I'll know the truth. Besides, if I don't even understand the situation of the 7th tribe, there's no need for me to be the patriarch." Huaxian looked at Jiang Chen and said indifferently, "Then we'll leave early tomorrow morning." Jiang Chen smiled embarrassedly and immediately turned to leave. The next morning, Jiang Chen brought Huafu and Muyuda out of the Blazing Phoenix tribe's boundary without alerting anyone. With the bloodline of the Phoenix tribe, Jiang Chen's speed was even faster. He pulled Muyuda with one hand, and the 3 of them streaked across the sky at an extremely fast speed, rushing towards the northern region. At this moment, behind China's sect, an expert had arrived. He was dressed very plainly and looked no different from the men on the street, especially the stubble on his face, which added a bit of decadence. However, it was such a man that caused all the experts of the Thousand Harmonies sect to come out. Su Qian and Su Yundian, the 2 strongest experts of the sect, stood above the gate. Even Bai Xiaoyan was prepared to fight at any time. The other elders and protectors were protecting the sect disciples. "An ancient immortal king, why did you suddenly come to visit? Why didn't you inform us beforehand?" Su Qian stared at the powerhouse in front of him. In terms of strength, he could exchange blows with Yigu. However, the formations and barriers that he was proficient in could greatly restrict his performance. So even if it was Su Qian, he didn't dare make a move when he didn't understand the true intentions of the other party. "Haha, great Elder Su, you're being too cautious. I've only come here to wait for someone. When I've arrived, we'll meet and chat for a while. Then, I'll naturally leave." Yigu slowly landed within the Thousand Harmonies sect and said with a smile, "Oh." Su Qian gave Su Yundian a look and asked as he landed with Yigu, "Jiang Chen, great Elder Su Qian, don't tell me you don't know him?" Yigu flicked his sleeves and asked, "Jiang Chen?" Su Qian frowned. He looked calm on the surface, but he felt helpless in his heart. He could have offended anyone, but he had to offend the strongest expert in the immortal world. First, it was Immortal King Xianjun, and now it was an ancient immortal king. "Yes, I came here this time because I wanted to see him." Yigu walked into the main hall and said as he walked, "It's my first time in the Thousand Harmonies sect. Great Elder Su Qian, don't tell me you didn't even prepare tea?" "Prepare?" Su Qian followed closely behind. In the main hall, Yigu was very relaxed as he drank tea with his legs crossed. However, Su Yundian, Bai Xiaoyan, and the others looked at him nervously. "I wonder why Immortal King Yigu is looking for Jiang Chen. He's not in the Thousand Harmonies sect right now. He's been out for a long time. I don't know when he'll be back." Su Qian glanced at Yigu and said in a deep voice, "I'm not in a hurry. Besides, Jiang Chen will be back soon." Yigu sipped his tea and said with a smile. As soon as he finished speaking, a familiar aura appeared from outside. Jiang Chen brought Huafu and Mu Yud back to the Thousand Harmonies sect. However, before he could enter the sect, he was stopped by Jiang Yuan. Thinking about how he had lied to him earlier, Jiang Chen looked at him unhappily. He was going to leave him alone for a few days to give him time to reflect on what he had done wrong. Don't go in. Immortal King Igu is here. Zhang Yuan tugged at Jiang Chen's clothes. What? Immortal King Igu? Jiang Chen turned his head to look at him, then looked into the main hall. Sure enough, he saw an unfamiliar figure sitting inside. Moreover, there was a terrifying pressure slowly being emitted from his body. It's good that he's here. I'll go and ask him about the situation, Hua Fu said and rushed in. At that time, in the Green Python Heavenly Snake Clan, she heard people whispering about why even Immortal King Igu's array couldn't trap Hua Xian and Jiang Chen. When she thought about how her father's face was a little pale after the barrier dissipated, she knew that he must have been injured in the array. Originally, she only had some opinions about Immortal King Igu. However, now that Immortal King Igu was here, she didn't care about the difference in cultivation level and went into the main hall. Seeing this, Jiang Chen and Zhang Yuan hurriedly chased after her. Look, aren't you back? Immortal King Igu ignored Hua Fu in front of him and looked at Jiang Chen, who entered the door and smiled at Su Qian. Immortal King Igu, let me ask you, why did you give your array to the Green Python Heavenly Snake Clan? My father and Jiang Chen almost died in there. Hua Fu asked with her hands on her hips. Are you Hua Fu of the Bathing Flame Phoenix clan? Looking at the woman in front of him, Immortal King Igu asked, I remember that you are the guardian spirit beast of Emperor Qianji's sect. Since you have appeared now, it means that Emperor Qianji has found his successor, right? When these words came out, everyone was stunned. They didn't expect that Immortal King Igu would be so familiar with the matters of Tianji's sect. Immortal King Igu, I heard that you were looking for me? Jiang Chen was worried that Hua Fu would anger him, so he quickly stepped forward and asked in a deep voice. That's right. Come with me. I have something to ask you. Immortal King Igu immediately looked away from Hua Fu, got up, and walked outside. What can't be said here? Bai Xiaoyan blocked in front of Jiang Chen. A mere Immortal King. It's best not to show off in front of me. Immortal King Igu tilted his head slightly and said with some dissatisfaction. Eldest senior brother, I'll go out with him to take a look. It's fine. Jiang Chen walked past Bai Xiaoyan and followed Immortal King Igu out. Behind him, Su Qian and the others quickly followed, staring at Jiang Chen. As long as Immortal King Igu had any intention of making a move, they would directly rush forward. Chapter 1782. After leaving, the ancient Immortal King waved his hand and opened up a barrier, leading Jiang Chen into it. One of the three Immortal Kings shouldn't need to go back on his words. Su Qian took a deep breath and said, let's wait. If he wants to make a move on Jiang Chen, there's no need to appear here. He can intercept him on his way back. Hearing Su Qian's explanation, Hua Fu also relaxed a little. This time, you must have encountered some trouble when you went back, right? Thinking of what Hua Fu said to the ancient Immortal King, Su Qian asked. It's okay. We encountered some trouble, but it's all solved. Hua Fu didn't want to tell the truth about the family situation, so she answered very calmly. There's also a new friend. Seeing Mu Yid standing alone in the courtyard, Su Qian said with a smile. This is Jiang Chen's friend in the lower realm. After ascending, he stayed in our Flame Phoenix tribe for a period of time. Now he came out with Jiang Chen. Hua Fu introduced. To be able to become Jiang Chen's friend, he must have some ability. Su Qian remembered that Nian Chang'e, who followed Immortal King Xianjun, had the ability of 72 lotuses. He seemed to have a good relationship with Jiang Chen. Hua Fu didn't know how to respond. What true ability did he have? His method of moving things was very good. The entire 7th tribe was almost cleaned out by him. In the barrier, Jiang Chen found that it was like a room after entering. The ancient Immortal King sat on a chair and looked at Jiang Chen. Ancient Immortal King, this should be the first time we met. We didn't have any interaction before. I don't know why you were looking for me. If there's nothing else, I'll go out now. Please go back. Seeing that he didn't speak, Jiang Chen turned around and prepared to leave the barrier. Among the heaven immortals, you are the first one who dares to talk to me like this. The ancient Immortal King suddenly laughed. Jiang Chen shook his head and ignored him. He even dared to talk to the white-robe immortal king, let alone him. In the eyes of others, the three immortal kings were the strongest in the world. But in front of Jiang Chun, they were huge treasures. Of course, the white-robed immortal king was an exception. The Heaven's Secret Pavilion was extremely poor. Not only did they not gain any benefits, they even lost their own money. After entering the immortal realm, the thing that Jiang Chun regretted the most was listening to Bai Xuanling's nonsense and joining the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion. Wait, don't be so anxious. One ancient immortal king was worried that Jiang Chun would really leave, so he didn't put on any airs and directly asked, "Where are you?" Jiang Chun stopped. "No, but this is my formation. I can naturally sense the situation inside. I didn't expect that a heavenly immortal like you would have 7 different types of immortal energy in your body. Can you show it to me inside this barrier?" An ancient immortal king's eyes suddenly burned with passion. "Lunatic," Jiang Chun cursed to himself. He was about to leave. "Don't you want to know the relationship between me and the Black Sky Emperor?" One ancient immortal king asked again. "If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten about it." Jiang Chun turned around and came back. Hui Yuanba and Cho Su of the Green Python Heavenly Snake clan attacked Huixian. They used a poison similar to the Black Sky Emperor. As one of the 3 immortal kings, you actually have a relationship with the Black Sky Emperor? Well, actually, I have nothing to do with him. One ancient immortal king didn't expect Jiang Chun's temper to be so explosive. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. "You're really crazy." Jiang Chun was completely speechless. I'll tell you the truth. What you said is exactly what I'm investigating. Because of this, I asked my disciples to give the Green Python Heavenly Snake clan several books of formations. I tried to use the formation to find out some things about their clan. One ancient immortal king cleared his throat and said in a deep voice, "What does that have to do with me? You can investigate it yourself." Jiang Chun sighed. When he first saw this person, Jiang Chun was shocked by his aura. However, he didn't expect that this ancient immortal king was only good at formations. His brain wasn't very good, as if he was missing something. Of course it has something to do with it. I wanted to sense the relationship between their clan and the Black Sky Emperor, but I didn't expect that Cho Su would use the King's Slaying formation to deal with you and Huixian. I also happened to sense that you have 7 different attributes of immortal qi in your body. One ancient immortal king shook his head and said, and then, after listening to him say so much, Jiang Chun felt that he didn't hear the main point. "I want to take you as my disciple. The 7 elemental immortal energies in your body can perfectly unleash the power of some of my top formations and barriers. I've encountered people with 2 or 3 elemental immortal energies in their bodies. Even the 6 elemental immortal energies in my body can't fully unleash their true power." One ancient immortal king suddenly became serious, looked at Jiang Chun, and said in a deep voice. He was already prepared for Jiang Chun to kneel on one knee and acknowledge him as his master. "Not interested." Jiang Chun waved his hand. Emperor Qianji's cultivation method alone was enough for him to see. He didn't even want the scroll that Huixian gave him that could release the power of bloodline. How could he accept the things of an ancient immortal king? Ha! One ancient immortal king was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. What was his identity? One of the 3 great immortal kings. One of the strongest in the entire immortal world. People who wanted to acknowledge him as their master could be sent from the northern region to the sea. He personally came to him, scolded him, smiled, and took the initiative to ask him to be his disciple. He was actually rejected? If this spread out, he was afraid that he would lose all his face. "I'm really not interested. You'd better find someone else. Besides, I already have a sect." Jiang Chun repeated, "That's not important. I accept you as my disciple. I don't care if you have other masters or not. You don't need to learn those super powerful formations and barriers. I have a very romantic formation here. I guarantee that no matter who you like, you will be able to get them." It wasn't easy to meet a cultivator with 7 attributes in his body. He didn't want to give up just like that. Jiang Chun was completely speechless. "How about it? Are you interested?" One ancient immortal king rubbed his hands. Still not. Jiang Chen shook his head. How about this? As long as you agree to be my disciple, I can satisfy any of your conditions. As long as I can do it, you can say whatever you want. One ancient immortal king had no choice but to use his final trump card. However, it was these words that made Jiang Chen's heart move. Are you serious? Jiang Chen turned around and looked at him. Are you kidding? Don't you know who I am? Seeing that Jiang Chen was a little moved by him, the ancient immortal king instantly straightened his back. Okay, I agree. After getting his promise, Jiang Chen nodded. Chapter 1783. Boy, we have an agreement. From today onwards, I am your master, and you are my disciple. If either of us goes back on our words, we will be struck by lightning. Do you understand? The ancient immortal king looked at Jiang Chen and did not hide the excitement in his heart at all. I know. Jiang Chen could only nod his head and agree. If it were not for his strength, Jiang Chen would not agree to be his disciple in the future when he could help him fight against the sect leader of the Black Sect and save Ikari. What a good disciple! Here are a few introductory array books. You can learn them first. When I sense that you have mastered them, I will give you more powerful ones. However, I feel that with your talent, you don't need to start from the introductory level. An ancient immortal king rummaged in his storage ring for a while. When he had just found 2 scrolls, he was going to give them to Jiang Chen. However, before Jiang Chen could take them, the ancient immortal king put them back in his storage ring and took out 2 new scrolls. After going back and forth 2 or 3 times, the ancient immortal king finally found the array that he thought was most suitable for Jiang Chen. This formation is called the Soul-Slaying Spirit Suppression Formation. I've just developed it and haven't tested it in actual combat. It's the most suitable gift for you. With your cultivation and talent, I think you'll be able to bring out its most basic power. But to what extent you'll be able to use it will depend on your ability. The ancient immortal king handed the scroll to Jiang Chen. You want to use me as your test subject? The corners of Jiang Chen's mouth twitched twice, and the hand that was holding the scroll trembled slightly. If this array was useless, wouldn't he be harming himself? What are you talking about? The array that I, the ancient immortal king, created has never failed. This book is even more powerful than the king's slaying array. It's up to you whether you want it or not. Jiang Chen's words made the ancient immortal king feel that he had been greatly insulted. Yes, I want it, okay. Jiang Chen casually threw it into the storage ring, planning to let it eat dust inside. All right, that's all for now. When you fully comprehend this formation, I'll give you the rest. The ancient immortal king was satisfied and prepared to leave the barrier. What's your name? Jiang Chen asked. Guhua, due to my unique spirit formation techniques and world spirit techniques, the people of the world address me as the One Ancient Immortal King. After the One Ancient Immortal King finished speaking, he waved his hand, and the spirit formation disappeared. As he gazed at Su Qian and the others who stood at the entrance of the hall, Guhua coughed twice before he recovered his condescending appearance from before. He couldn't bring down the reputation of the 3 great immortal kings before outsiders. However, Jiang Chen was the only one who knew what this guy was really like. Su Qian walked up and sized up Jiang Chen. When he saw that there were no injuries, he asked, Ancient Immortal King, is there anything else? No more. My sudden visit to your Thousand Harmonies sect today was indeed a bit abrupt. Guhua shook his head and said in a deep voice, It's fine. As long as the One Ancient Immortal King can clarify the matter, our Thousand Harmonies sect will be fine. Su Qian smiled and waved his hand. If he could avoid becoming enemies with such an expert, he would naturally be happy to agree. We'll meet again if fate wills it. Guhua flicked his sleeve and took the opportunity to smile at Jiang Chen before disappearing on the spot. As soon as he left, everyone's tense nerves immediately relaxed, especially by Xiaoyan and Huofu. They ran to Jiang Chen's side and carefully checked if there were any injuries on his body. I'm fine. The One Ancient Immortal King only asked me about the Azure Python Heavenly Snake, Jiang Chen said casually as he stroked the storage ring on his finger. This One Ancient Immortal King is really strange. He's actually related to the Azure Python Heavenly Snake clan. Huafu's expression was displeased. After knowing that the one ancient immortal king's formation almost injured her father and Jiang Chun, her impression of this person was not very good. What happened to the azure python heavenly snake? As one of the 6 great spirit beasts, Jiang Yuan naturally knew about the azure python heavenly snake clan. When he heard this topic, he quickly went forward and asked, "The great elder of my clan and the azure python heavenly snake clan's clan leader, Cho Su, joined forces to attack my father. The method they used is very similar to Black Sky Emperors. This has been confirmed by the white-robed immortal king and Elder Lin Baichao of the Heaven and Earth Pharmacy." At this point, Huafu no longer tried to hide and told everything. Oh, Su Qian was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Jiang Chun would encounter such a thing on his trip to the southern region. He stepped forward and glanced at Jiang Chun. "Let's discuss in the hall." Everyone gathered in the hall. Jiang Chun and Huafu told everything that happened in the southern region. As an 8th-layer immortal king expert, Su Qian naturally knew some things. He was also very puzzled about the relationship between the Azure Python Heavenly Snake Clan and Black Sky Emperor. Logically speaking, except for Jiang Yuan and Huafu, the spirit beasts of the southern region almost didn't have any contact with forces outside the southern region. Moreover, Black Sky Emperor had disappeared from the immortal realm tens of thousands of years ago. Everyone who knew him thought that he had been injured and died in the Battle of the Thousand Harmonies sect. But now hearing this from Jiang Chun, Su Qian was very puzzled. If there is a relationship between Black Sky Emperor and the Azure Python Heavenly Snake Clan, and the one ancient immortal king has a good relationship with the Azure Python Heavenly Snake Clan, and the sect leader of the Black Sect Clan is very similar to Black Sky Emperor. Su Qian frowned and analyzed. Halfway through, he suddenly looked at Jiang Chun and said, "Kid, you may have unknowingly stumbled into a shocking conspiracy." Ah! Everyone was very surprised. But Su Qian's words did make sense. "That can't be helped. Before rescuing Hikari, I can't get away." Jiang Chun smiled bitterly. Except for the one ancient immortal king, he also agreed with the other opinions. As for what the conspiracy is, I'm afraid no one knows now. Jiang Chun, when you met the one ancient immortal king, did you feel that something was wrong with him? When I confronted him, I didn't feel any strange fluctuations from him. Su Qian thought carefully. I don't think so. I feel that there is no connection between him and Black Sky Emperor, and he might have given it to the Azure Python Heavenly Snake for other reasons. Just like when the Heaven Province Bank and the Ganges Bank fought, the other party invited immortal king Xianjun, and Song Yuanjia asked Great Elder for help. Jiang Chun tried his best to pull Gu Hu out of their suspicion. Other than saying this, he had no other way. He couldn't just tell them that Gu Hu had treated him like a disciple and gave him a book on array formation. He didn't even release the news of by Xianling, let alone his relationship with Gu Hua. What you said makes sense. It is very likely that the Azure Python Heavenly Snake Clan helped the one ancient immortal king once by chance, and the one ancient immortal king gave it the array formation as a thank you. Su Qian nodded. Chapter 1784. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chased us all the way here. He should have gone to the southern region to check on the situation of the Heavenly Snake Clan. Bai Xiaoyan followed Su Qian's words. We still have to figure out the relationship between the sect leader of the Black Sect and Black Sky Emperor. Su Qian took a sip of tea. Jiang Chun, you and Huafu have just returned from the southern region. Go and rest first. That little friend Mu Yud, I'll have the clansmen arrange a guest room for you. Thank you, Great Elder. Mu Yud knew Su Qian's identity from the conversation between Jiang Chun and the others. Rest for a few days, then we'll return to Kunlun Mountain. Jiang Chun and Huafu walked out side by side and said softly, things have developed beyond our expectations. We'd better tell the mountain masters as soon as possible. With their help, we'll know more. I think you miss Bai Fingyu? Huafu tilted her head. Don't talk nonsense. Even Jiang Chun, who was thick-skinned, blushed when his secret was exposed. Not only Bai Fingyu, you have a good relationship with Wei Yu, the mountain master of the 6th mountain, and Xin Yu, the mountain master of the 9th mountain, right? Since she had such a relationship with Jiang Chun, Huafu was not worried that Jiang Chun would be angry. She simply said everything she wanted to say. Ahem. Jiang Chun coughed awkwardly. I advise you to behave. With your current cultivation, I'm afraid you won't be able to withstand it. Huafu sized up Jiang Chun. Although he had a good figure, he was still a little thin. Don't you know whether I can withstand it or not? Jiang Chun seized the opportunity and quickly counterattacked. What are you talking about? Huafu's face instantly turned red. She clenched her fist and punched him hard on the shoulder. The two of them bickered and walked out of the hall. But behind them, Su Qian and the others were staring with wide eyes. Is there something going on between them? Mu Yud was the first to speak. He didn't mind watching a show. After knowing the relationship between Jiang Chun and Huafu, he deliberately led the topic to this. It can't be. Jiang Yuan was in disbelief. He knew that Jiang Chen's taste wasn't that heavy. With the gentle Bai Feng Yu there, how could he like the fiery Huafu? It's also possible that through this incident, our relationship has become closer. Su Qian sat up straight. After all, Jiang Chun should have helped the Bathe Flame Phoenix race quite a bit this time. After the break, Jiang Chun took out the formation Gu had given him from his storage ring. Although this person was a little unreliable, he was still one of the 3 immortal kings after all. Thus, the item should be real. If he could cultivate it successfully, he would have more means to deal with others in the future. After entering a meditative state, Jiang Chun memorized all the formations in the scroll. However, when he was about to circulate his immortal force according to Gu Hu's records of the formation, he suddenly realized that the activation and operation of the formation was similar to the mechanism technique he'd obtained by coincidence in the Immortal Emperor's tomb. Is there a relationship between the ancient Immortal Emperors and the monarch Xinji? Jiang Chun frowned slightly. He couldn't help but think in this direction. The Qinji sect, just from the name, knew that it was famous for its mechanisms, and mechanisms and formations were of the same origin. The ancient Immortal Emperor and the monarch Xinji had similar attainments in this area. It was very likely that there was some relationship between the two. Jiang Chun was just puzzled and didn't think about it in detail. Even if the two were related, it had nothing to do with him. Jiang Chun took a deep breath and pounced on the soul-slaying, spirit-suppressing formation, trying to comprehend the mystery. This cultivation lasted for nearly a week. During this time, the phoenix shadow behind Jiang Chun had always been there. After an unknown amount of time, the mystery of the formation was finally grasped by Jiang Chun. With the manipulation of his mind, a small cast soul lock spirit formation emerged in the palm of his hand. The formation appeared gray. In the middle, there was an old man in a black robe, holding an iron chain in his hand. As long as one was shrouded in the formation, they would be firmly bound by the iron chain, and even the soul would not be able to penetrate it. As long as the controller had enough immortal chi, it was enough to trap the other party forever. However, with Jiang Chen's current cultivation, he could barely trap a 5th-level immortal venerable for about an hour. If his cultivation was higher, he could directly break through the spirit formation and escape. Sure enough, he is an immortal emperor who is proficient in formations. Jiang Chen's eyes lit up. This kind of formation seemed simple and incomparably ordinary, but in fact it had the greatest effect, especially in locking the soul. It could be said that as long as the person was shrouded in the spirit formation, he would be completely defeated. The only pity was that Jiang Chun could only be considered to have comprehended it now, but he had not mastered it yet. Pushing the door open and walking out, Jiang Chun looked at Mu Yud. What do you want? Seeing Jiang Chen's malicious expression, Mu Yud's body trembled. He suddenly felt that something was wrong and immediately ran out of the sect. Don't be afraid. I just want to try out the formation that I have just comprehended. Jiang Chun formed a seal with his hands. Instantly, gray light fell from the sky, firmly locking Mu Yud inside. Jiang Chun, did you make me leave the Bathing Flame Phoenix clan to follow you just to use me as a test subject? Mu Yud asked painfully as he looked at the spirit formation that enveloped him. As he spoke, the iron chain had already bound him. His whole body floated in the spirit formation, and behind him was the old man in gray, whose face could not be seen clearly. Jiang Chun walked to the open space in front of the hall and stared at Mu Yud, who was trapped in the spirit formation. Although Mu Yud's cultivation was at the third level, immortal venerable, he felt that he could not use any immortal chi at all. It was as if his whole body was nailed in the spirit formation. "Can you break free?" Jiang Chen asked. "There's no other way. My immortal chi is locked in my body, and I can't use it at all." Mu Yud shook his head in despair. He felt that Jiang Chen could kill him with just a thought. "Not bad." Jiang Chen waved his hand and removed the spirit formation. Mu Yud fell from the sky and landed solidly on the ground. "I just changed into a new set of clothes." Mu Yud's face was pressed against the ground as he exhaled heavily. "It seems like this spirit formation has the ability to defeat those below the 5th level immortal venerable realm." Jiang Chen quickly stepped forward and helped him up from the ground. "However, other immortal venerables will not be trapped as easily as you are. Where did you get this spirit formation?" Mu Yud asked as he patted the dust off his body. "I stole it from an expert," Jiang Chen said casually. "It's really terrifying. With this spirit formation, I'm afraid that no one in the same level as you will be a match for you." Mu Yud was a little envious. Although he had stolen many things from the Bathing Flame Phoenix clan, none of them were from before. They were all a pile of junk. Chapter 1785. Yes, Jiang Chen nodded. Not to mention those in the same realm. He was afraid that few immortals who were one level higher than him could be his match. Although he could fight against immortals and immortal primes before, he had to use his trump card and put his life on the line to have a chance of winning. Now, as long as his opponent was careless and was hit by the soul-slaying, spirit-suppressing formation, he would lose his life. "Can you teach me this formation?" Mu Yud's interest was piqued at the thought of the formidability of the formation. In the future, if he couldn't defeat his opponent in the immortal world, he could use the formation to trap his opponent. His opponent could only stand there and stare helplessly. With the protection of the formation and the 2 contracts, he could do almost anything in the immortal world. Of course, Jiang Chen had always been generous to Mu Yud. Jiang Chen put his hand on Mu Yud's shoulder and imparted the mental cultivation method of the soul-slaying, spirit-suppressing formation to him, as well as some of his insights. Mu Yud stood where he was, receiving the tactical formation Jiang Chen had transferred to him. "Soul-slaying, spirit-suppressing formation," Mu Yud said in a low voice when Jiang Chen released his hand from his shoulder. At the same time, he stretched his hand forward and a small formation emerged from his palm. "Not bad." Jiang Chen nodded satisfactorily when he saw this. "Thanks to your insights, otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to comprehend it so easily." Mu Yud smiled and waved his hand, dissipating the formation. "It seems that heaven immortals and divine immortals won't be able to stop you in the future. But I'm curious how your cultivation level suddenly rose from heavenly immortal realm to heavenly immortal realm after a trip to the southern region?" Su Qian was already standing at the entrance of the hall when he and Mu Yud were standing on the open ground. "I had a fortuitous encounter." Jiang Chen chuckled. Then, he activated his mind, and the shadow of the phoenix appeared behind him. The power of the phoenix tribe's bloodline? When he saw this scene, even the experienced and knowledgeable Su Qian was slightly shocked. "Yes, I helped the Flame Phoenix clan, so the patriarch of the Fire Xin clan allowed me to fuse with his clan's bloodline power. As a result, I became the Grand Elder of the Flame Phoenix clan." Jiang Chen shrugged and said, "You must have suffered a lot, right?" Su Qian knew that if an outsider wanted to fuse with the power of the spirit beast race's bloodline, they would have to endure unbearable pain. Their lives might even be in danger. When he was young and traveling in the immortal world, he had also encountered such a situation. However, after much consideration, he still refused. "Not bad." With Fire Lotus's help, Jiang Chen did not find it too difficult. "You just came back, and an ancient immortal king came to visit you. He asked you to rest for a few days. I have a piece of news that I didn't have the time to tell you." Su Qian waved his hand at Jiang Chen and turned to walk into the hall. "Go and study the formation." Upon hearing this, Jiang Chen immediately followed him in. The news that Su Qian had inquired about was definitely related to the Black Sex Patriarch and Hikari. In the hall, Jiang Chen sat in a chair and looked straight at Su Qian. Do you still remember the corpse cliff? Su Qian took a sip of tea and asked. Of course I remember. Jiang Qin's eyes instantly became fierce. That was the first time he had fought with the sole doppelganger of the Black Sex Patriarch. Although he was caught off guard, he was indeed not his opponent. After you were injured, I have sent people to the east to inquire about it. This sect has recently recruited a lot of new disciples. It may be that they are working for the Black Sex Patriarch, but it may also be that it is for the underground trade that occurs once in 100 years in the east of the eastern region. Su Qian nodded. Underground trade? Jiang Qin frowned. Do you know why the east is so similar to the outer region, even though it belongs to the eastern region? Su Qian asked. Please enlighten me, Great Elder. Jiang Qin did not know about this situation. About 100,000 years ago, there was once an immortal king of the northern region who had a grudge with a sect from another region. He directly used all the power of his sect and fought a great battle with that sect at the border of the eastern region. There was no news of victory or defeat, but after that war, the immortal king of the northern region completely disappeared in the northern region. The seal that was set up by Emperor Qinji in the eastern region and the outer region was torn open. Since then, the sects and ordinary people in the eastern region have gradually evacuated, and it has become like this. Speaking of this, Su Qian was a little emotional. This happened after the fall of Emperor Qinji. Otherwise, the seal could be strengthened again, and the eastern region would not have fallen to this point. Great Elder, what is this so-called underground trade? Jiang Qin took a cup of tea from Su Qian and asked while drinking. It's a trade of shameful things. Every 100 years, people will enter the spatial rifts created by the battles between the two sects to trade immortal jades for immortal jades, which they obtain from the immortal world through shady means. Because this is a space crack, strictly speaking, it does not belong to the immortal realm, so most people acquiesce to this trade. Su Qian said with a smile. It seems a little interesting. Listening to Su Qian's introduction, Jiang Qin was a little interested in this space crack. Most of the income of the Corpse Cliff sect comes from here. The reason why he recruited these new disciples is to take them into the crack. Once enemies come or something happens, these disciples are the best human shields. Su Qian nodded and said what he knew. When did it start? Jiang Qin raised his eyebrows. It seems that it has been 3 days. Su Qian continued. Great Elder, I'll take my leave first. Jiang Qin immediately got up and cupped his hands. Do you want to go by yourself? Su Qian stood up and looked at Jiang Qin, who had already walked to the door of the hall, and asked, Why don't you let the White Immortal King go with you? There are all kinds of people in the space crack. Maybe some decent sects and forces will be there. I'm just going to take a look. I won't do anything. Jiang Qin smiled faintly. However, before he could turn around and walk out, a fiery red figure blocked his path. Sister Huafu? Jiang Qin took 2 steps back before he could see who was in front of him. You call me sister? The expression on Huafu's pretty face was distorted. She had sensed the distance between them from Jiang Qin's words. I'm going out. Jiang Qin was embarrassed. Until now, he still didn't know how to face Huafu. If he knew this would happen, he would not have agreed to Huaxian's nonsense and jumped into the spring. Chapter 1786. Take me with you. Huafu put her hands on her hips, not giving Jiang Qin a chance to refuse. Jiang Qin had no choice but to take her out of the sect. When they walked out of the door, Huafu secretly gestured to Su Qian with her hands behind her back to show her approval. Su Qian smiled. He knew Jiang Qin's personality, so he had already informed Huafu and the others when he told Jiang Qin the news. White Immortal King, Brother Jiang Yuan, I'll have to trouble you to protect him. Su Qian smiled at the 2 people who walked out of the inner room. Great Elder, you must be joking. Even if you didn't say it, we would still protect Jiang Qin. Bai Xiaoyan glanced outside the hall, cupped her hands to Lin Baichao, and quickly left with Jiang Yuan. The east. It was just as Su Qian had said. Although it was as desolate as the last time he came, there were many people approaching this place. These people were all shrouded in black robes, and even their immortal energy fluctuations were suppressed. Unless they directly tore off their masks, it was impossible to see these people. Before I left the clan, I heard my father say something. After arriving in the east, the two slowed down. Huafu said when she saw the spatial fluctuations not far away. What is it? Jiang Chun tilted his head. The bones of the ancestors of our flame-bathing phoenix clan were buried in the nearby mountains. Someone stole the bones of one of our ancestors, and it is said that they sold it in this spatial crack. Even though tens of thousands of years had passed, Huafu's chest was still heaving violently because of anger when she mentioned this matter. Stole the bones? Jiang Chun was a little surprised. Yes, that ancestor's cultivation was almost the same as my father's. After he died, the blood in his body gradually condensed and seeped into the bones. With some methods, it is possible to extract the blood essence. Huafu nodded. Why didn't you investigate clearly? Jiang Chun asked in confusion as he looked at the spatial crack in front of them. If his ancestors were treated like this, Jiang Chun would investigate the truth even if he had to die. Those who stole the bones and bought them would all disappear from this world. Father has investigated, but that person didn't leave any traces in the mountain range. Moreover, we don't know who participated in the underground trade at all. How can we find him in the vast immortal world? Huafu sighed softly. This matter was still a pain and humiliation for the entire Flame Phoenix clan. There will always be a chance to find out. Jiang Chen didn't know how to comfort her. He just raised his hand and gently patted her shoulder. And I hope so. Fire Lotus gently nestled against Jiang Chen's chest. Not far behind him, Bai Xiaoyan and Jiang Yuan were also wearing black robes. When they saw the two of them stop, they were just about to discuss why they stopped when they suddenly saw the two of them hugging each other. F***CK. This brat won't let anyone off. Bai Xiaoyan clenched her fists tightly. She looked ahead with envy. She was handsome, and her cultivation level wasn't high, either. Why were all the women throwing themselves into Jiang Chen's arms, while he didn't even want to talk to her? I'm afraid he's already the son-in-law of the Flame Phoenix clan. Compared to Bai Xiaoyan, Jiang Yuan was very calm. He was originally one of the 6 great spiritual beasts. When he saw Jiang Chen's Phoenix Phantom in the Thousand Harmonies sect, he already understood what was going on. I'm so envious. Bai Xiaoyan's eyes were about to pop out. After comforting them for a while, Jiang Chen and Huafu moved at the same time. Bai Xiaoyan and Jiang Yuan hurriedly followed. When they arrived at the space crack, Jiang Chen and Huafu both put on black robes, and their cultivations were all taken back into their bodies. As soon as they entered, Jiang Chun found this place was similar to the immortal ancient doubtful city. Both of them were shabby. On both sides of the city's roads, there were even many people setting up street stalls in the corners. Seeing this situation, Jiang Chun slightly frowned. Everyone was hidden in black robes, and he couldn't sense their auras. It really wasn't easy to find out who was from Corpse Cliff. However, since they were already here, Jiang Chun wasn't in a hurry. Even if they couldn't find any clues, if they could find some treasures, it would be worth it. Do you feel anything? When they entered the spatial crack, Huafu's brows furrowed. She felt a familiar feeling from her bloodline, but it didn't come from Jiang Chen's body. What? Jiang Chen was a bit surprised. Our Bathing Fire Phoenix clan's members might be here, Huafu said before she started walking forward. Jiang Chen followed her. However, he was puzzled. Why would the Flame Phoenix clan's people be here? Could it be that they also had some shameful things to sell? Huafu's speed became faster and faster. Even Jiang Chen couldn't keep up. In the most remote corner of the town, Huafu stopped. There was a very shabby stall in front of her, and that familiar fluctuation was coming from the stall. After getting closer, Jiang Chen also felt a slight throbbing in his bloodline. On the stall, there was a transparent bottle with a drop of golden blood inside. You like it? Seeing someone standing in front of the stall owner asked in a hoarse voice. Yes. Huafu took a deep breath. Hidden in the black robe, her body was trembling slightly. Even her pupils were trembling, but she still restrained herself and made herself look normal. Boss, how much are you selling this thing for? Sensing that something was wrong with Huafu, Jiang Chen squatted down in front of the stall, picked up the bottle, and looked at it carefully. Don't touch it. As soon as Jiang Chen picked it up, the stall owner immediately reached out and snatched it away, scolding sternly. Even many people around were frightened by him. I'm quite interested. If you're selling it, name a price. I want it. Jiang Chen smiled faintly and asked, You don't even know what this is. I don't think you're sincere about buying it. Hurry up and leave. The stall owner reached out to protect the bottle and waved his other hand at Jiang Chen. Name a price. Any price is fine. Jiang Chen didn't get angry and continued to ask, I'm a VIP of the Ganges Bank. As long as you name it, I can afford it. Really? The stall owner didn't even raise his head. He knew that even if he looked, he wouldn't be able to see who was under the black robe. But his tone was a little excited. Of course, I've been in the immortal world for so many years and have never lied. Jiang Chen laughed. I see that you're sincere in wanting it. Then come with me. I'll tell you what this is and give you a price. The stall owner got up and walked out of the town with the bottle. Chapter 1787. You don't want these things? Jiang Chen pointed to the other things on the shabby stall. Even if you double the value of those things, they're not as valuable as the one in my hand. The stall owner laughed, as if mocking Jiang Chen's knowledge. Don't worry. Ask where you got it from, and then consider what to do. As he walked out with the stall owner, Jiang Chen reached out and put his hand on Huafu's shoulder. The moment he squatted in front of the stall, he could sense that there was nothing else in the bottle but a drop of pure essence blood of the Flame Phoenix clan. Okay, Huafu answered in a trembling voice. After leaving the town, they were less than 100 meters away from the end of the spatial fissure. There was not a single blade of grass growing here. Although they were stepping on the ground, it gave off a very illusory feeling. It was as if when the spatial fissure appeared, it was born by chance, just like the town. There were many people whispering to each other here. Do you really want to buy it? The stall owner hugged the bottle. If I didn't want it, I wouldn't be standing here, Jiang Chen said with a smile. Well, then I'll tell you the truth. This is a drop of pure essence blood of the Flame Phoenix clan. I spent a lot of effort to extract it from the skeleton. The materials used in the extraction alone cost me nearly 300 million immortal jades. If you really want it, then the price is 2 billion immortal jades. The stall owner stretched out 2 fingers and waved them in front of Jiang Chen. It's not expensive, Jiang Chen said with a smile. I can give you 1 billion more immortal jades. But you have to tell me where you got the skeleton of the Flame Phoenix clan's ancestor. As soon as he said this, the stall owner was instantly alert. He immediately distanced himself from Jiang Chen and asked in a deep voice, Why are you asking about this? It's a coincidence. Some time ago, I just merged with the power of the Flame Phoenix clan's bloodline. If it was before, I might not care, but now I'm a member of the Flame Phoenix clan. What you're holding is my ancestor's essence blood. Do you think I should ask you? Jiang Chen's mind flickered, and the phantom of a phoenix appeared behind him. Feeling the fluctuation of immortal energy, everyone looked over. Those who dared to display their strength in the spatial fissure were either experts who dominated a region or fools without brains. When they realized that Jiang Chen's cultivation was only at the 9th level of the celestial immortal realm, they automatically categorized him as the 2nd category. Ha! A mere 9th level heavenly immortal dares to act so arrogantly before me? I was wondering which overlord you were. The stall owner was stunned at first, but a moment later, he laughed disdainfully. Hurry up and leave the spatial crack before I get angry. Even if you are from the Flame Phoenix clan, what does that have to do with me? What did you say? Seeing Jiang Chen reveal his identity, Huafu could no longer hold back. Another phoenix phantom slowly appeared beside Jiang Chen. A phoenix caused the entire space to become oppressive. This aura seems to belong to Jiang Chen and the immortal monarch expert from that day. Somewhere in the town, a black-robed stall owner muttered to himself. Sensing Huafu's immortal monarch cultivation, the stall owner was finally a little afraid. Both of you, let's talk things over. This thing was given to me by someone else. The stall owner retreated as he kept the bottle in his black robe. You just said that you refined it yourself? Jiang Chen sneered. The stall owner did not say anything, but immediately fled toward the entrance of the spatial crack. Seeing this, Jiang Chen and Huafu quickly followed. In the blink of an eye, they were swept away from the town. Under this aura, many stalls were swept away, and the entire town was in a mess. Trying to run? After leaving the town, Jiang Chun threw away his black robe and disappeared immediately. Phew! The stall owner looked behind him as he ran. When he saw that no one was following him, he stopped and panted heavily. When he was about to check if the blood essence was damaged, he realized that the space in front of him had suddenly changed. A boundary? With a glance, the stall owner's heart became completely cold. It's not just a boundary. Jiang Chen's figure slowly appeared from the boundary. Just kill him. Huafu's face was cold. This boundary could be said to be one of the top boundaries in the Flame Phoenix tribe. Rather than a boundary, it was better to call it a spiritual technique. It was able to communicate with the body of an ancient ancestor. She and Jiang Chun were standing on the broad back of the phoenix. They could even see the ancestor's eyes at the end of the boundary. It was just that there was no expression. It was just a corpse. Forget what you just said to me. Your ancestor's bones were stolen. He has blood essence and refined it himself. Maybe we can find out what happened before. Seeing the light in Huafu's palm, Jiang Chun hurriedly persuaded in a low voice. I almost forgot. Huafu quickly withdrew her immortal power. You'd better let me out quickly. Aren't you from the Flame Phoenix tribe? The stall owner directly took out the bottle and said to Jiang Chun, I can sell this drop of blood essence to you at a low price of 1 billion. I know that if you swallow the blood essence, it will increase your cultivation by a lot. Of course, the blood essence is ours, but you have to explain its origin clearly. Jiang Chun sneered. With a wave of his hand, a gray array descended from the sky above the boundary and directly enveloped him in the middle. The gray old man swung the chain and directly tied him up, suspending him in midair. Tell me, where did the bones come from? Tens of thousands of years ago, the bones of the ancestor of the Flame Phoenix tribe were stolen. Was it also related to you? Jiang Chun rose into the air, stood in front of him, and asked. You don't have to ask. I won't say. Although he was already under Jiang Chen's control, his attitude was still very tough. It doesn't matter if you don't say it. I'll let you try the array I just comprehended. Jiang Chun shrugged, clapped his hands together, and formed a few seals. Immediately, the old man's arms forcefully pulled the chain. Just when the stall owner thought that the array was about to dissipate, he suddenly felt that his consciousness had become blurry. Not only was the gray-robed old man pulling the chain, he was even pulling out his soul body. Pulling left and right, his soul body couldn't bear it and faintly showed signs of being torn in half. I'll say it, the stall owner hurriedly shouted. If you said it earlier, you wouldn't have to suffer this torture. Jiang Chun waved his hand, and the chain loosened from his body. The entire array also dissipated in the boundary. The stall owner fell heavily on the phoenix's back, lying on his stomach and panting heavily. Cold sweat flowed down his body. The feeling of his soul being pulled out of his body was something he didn't want to experience a second time in his life. Chapter 1788. I obtained the corpse of the Flame Phoenix clan from the Heaven Province Bank. As far as I know, tens of thousands of years ago, immortal King Xian Jun once needed the inner core of the Flame Phoenix clan. I don't know what method he used, but he obtained the corpse of a Flame Phoenix clan ancestor. Later, the inner core was refined, and the remaining bones were useless. I had a good relationship with the young master, so I bought one at a high price. It took me 1,000 years to refine 2 drops of blood essence. I used one for myself, and I prepared to sell the other. The stall owner didn't dare to hide it anymore, afraid that he would really die here. Jiang Chun and Huafu were shocked at the same time. Immortal King Xian Jun needed the inner core of the Flame Phoenix clan. The Heaven Province Bank had obtained the corpse of the Flame Phoenix clan ancestor. A drop of blood essence had been absorbed by the person in front of them. Is what you said true or false? Jiang Chun took a deep breath and asked in a deep voice. It's all true. I've already fallen into your hands, so how could I dare to lie? Take the blood essence. This matter has nothing to do with me. I've already told you everything I know. Hurry up and let me go. The stall owner took out the blood essence from his black robe and placed it in front of him with trembling hands. Huafu calmly stepped forward, picked up the blood essence, and placed it in her storage ring. Then, she gently waved her slender hand, dispersing the barrier. The stall owner was relieved and turned around, preparing to escape. But before he could fly into the air, he was bound by a rope and fell to the ground. "I've already told you everything I know. What else do you want?" the stall owner asked in despair. "A piece of trash like you is worthy of absorbing the blood essence of my Flame Phoenix clan?" Huafu's eyes were cold, and her voice was even colder. "Follow me back to the clan and take out the blood essence from your body." "No!" The stall owner shook his head fiercely. He knew that the blood essence had already dissolved in his body. If he forcefully took it out, not only would he become a cripple, but there was even a risk of death. "It's not up to you." Huafu shook her head gently. She stretched out her hand, and the stall owner was directly sucked into her palm. A light appeared, and the unique sealing technique of the Flame Phoenix clan sealed him in the storage ring. "Are you still investigating the corpse cliff?" Seeing Jiangchen walk over, Huafu asked softly. "Let's put it aside for now. Great Elder Su Qian said that the entire underground trade fair will last for several tens of days. We should first investigate the matter before us clearly." Jiang Chen's gaze was complicated. Now, the Tianfu Bank had become his subordinate bank, but he didn't expect it to do such a thing before. "We can't find immortal King Xianjun, nor can we afford to offend him." "Then let's go to the Heavenly Province Bank and take a look. Let's see how they dared to steal the bones of our Blazing Phoenix clan's ancestors." Huafu's eyes were filled with killing intent. "Wait, Heavenly Province Bank is now under my control," Jiangchen quickly explained. "If you trust me, leave this matter to me." "Yes." Huafu didn't ask further. Jiangchen was not only her husband, but also the first elder of the family. She had absolute trust in Jiangchen. "Great senior brother, Brother Jiang Yuan, how long are you going to hide?" Hearing Huafu's agreement, Jiangchen shouted to the side of the hill. "We've been discovered." Bai Xiaoyan smiled and stood up. "Weren't you investigating the corpse cliff in the spatial crack? Why did you suddenly come out?" Jiang Yuan walked forward and asked, "I heard that it seems to have something to do with your Blazing Phoenix clan." "Yes, you guys go back to the Thousand Harmonies sect first. Huafu and I have to go out to do something." Jiangchen nodded. He knew that Bai Xiaoyan and Jiang Yuan had appeared here because they knew his whereabouts from the First Elder and came to protect him. "Be careful." Sensing that Jiangchen and Huafu's mood was a little off, Bai Xiaoyan didn't ask. She gave Jiang Yuan a look, and the two left together. Huafu exhaled heavily. "Let's go to the Ganges Bank first." Jiangchen hesitated for a moment, then flew towards the north. Ganges River City. When Jiangchen and Huafu arrived, they didn't hide their aura at all. When he sensed that Jiangchen was nearby, Song Yunjia hurriedly put down all his work and immediately went to the city gate to welcome him. "Young master," seeing that there weren't many people at the city gate, Song Yunjia directly cupped his hands and bowed to the young man walking over. "Where are Wei Qing and Wei Xiaoqiao?" Jiangchen didn't exchange pleasantries with him and asked. Song Yunjia was a little confused. He didn't know why Jiangchen was in such a hurry to the bank and why he was asking about the Wei clan. However, he still answered respectfully, in the manor. Jiangchen didn't say anything and directly walked towards the manor. Seeing the angry faces of the women behind him, Song Yunjia was completely dumbfounded. At first, he thought that Jiangchen was in such a hurry because he needed immortal jades. However, from his expression, it was obvious that something big had happened. Song Yunjia frowned and thought carefully. He wondered if he had offended Jiangchen in some way. Ever since Jiangchen left Eternal River City, Wei Qing's life had been very good. Wei Qing's life was pretty good. Although his freedom was restricted, he was still rather carefree in the city. Song Yunjia would also regularly give him some immortal jade for his expenses. After entering the manor, Jiangchen directly went to him. Wei Qing was about to go out to eat, drink, and play. However, when he saw the person standing outside, he was so frightened that he sat down on the ground. The fear that came from his soul made his mind go blank. "Brother!" Hearing the noise outside, Wei Xiaoqiao hurriedly followed. Miss Xiaoqiao, hello? Jiang Chen smiled and greeted her. Hi. Hello. After what happened that night, Wei Xiaoqiao was ashamed to face Jiang Chen. Her two hands kept rubbing the corners of her clothes, not knowing what to do. Who is he? Hua Fu rushed in from outside and asked as she pointed at Wei Qing, who was sitting on the ground. The young master of the Heavenly Province Bank. Jiang Chen replied, his father, who is the previous owner of the Heavenly Province Bank, is currently under me. Not bad. Hua Fu looked at Jiang Chen with satisfaction. She went forward and picked Wei Qing up. Big brother Chen, ever since you warned me, I have been living honestly in Eternal River City. I have not gone out at all, and I have not offended you. Feeling the killing intent from Hua Fu, Wei Qing was so frightened that his legs went soft. He could only be dragged away by Hua Fu by the collar. Big brother Chen, my brother, he... Wei Xiaoqiao looked outside and mustered up her courage to ask. It has nothing to do with you, Jiang Chen said casually. He offended the Flame Phoenix clan and will be punished. Ah? Wei Xiaoqiao was about to plead for mercy, but Jiang Chen had already disappeared in front of her. She had never heard of the Flame Phoenix clan and did not know what wrong Wei Qing had done. However, from Jiang Chen and that woman, she could feel that her big brother had caused big trouble. Chapter 1789. Seeing Wei Qing being dragged out of the manor, Song Yuanjia hurriedly asked, Young master, what happened? Jiang Chen took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, Contact Wei Dashuan and tell him to arrive in the southern region within 7 days. I'll be waiting for him at the Flame Phoenix clan. If he's late by half a minute, his son will die. Ah! Hearing this, Wei Qing's eyes rolled back and he fainted. It's such a big matter? Song Yuanjia was also shocked and realized the seriousness of the matter. It might be far beyond his imagination, so he quickly nodded and agreed. I'll go to the Heavenly Province Bank personally. Let's go. Seeing Song Yuanjia run away, Jiang Chen said softly. Southern region. Before dark, Jiang Chen returned. His daughter and son-in-law returned so quickly. Although Hua Xian was curious, he was still very happy. He thought that it would take another half a year to see the two of them. He didn't expect that it would only be 7 or 8 days. Are you reluctant to leave this place? Hua Xian came out of the barrier and said with a smile, If you are reluctant, then stay for a while longer. I might be able to help you digest some of the immortal techniques of Emperor Qianji. Clan leader Hua Xian, we came back for serious business. Jiang Chen threw the unconscious Wei Qing in front of Hua Xian. With this throw, Wei Qing opened his eyes. After thinking about what happened before he fainted, he immediately crawled to Jiang Chen and hugged his thigh, begging for mercy. Big brother Jiang Chen, I think there must be some misunderstanding. I've been obediently staying in Eternal River City and haven't done anything. You gave the bones of my Flame Phoenix clan's ancestor to someone else. That's called not doing anything? Hua Fu couldn't help but ask with a sneer. What? The smile on Hua Xian's face disappeared instantly. We found the blood essence of my clan in a spatial crack in the eastern part of the eastern region. Hua Fu took out the bottle from her storage ring. It's really... Hua Xian took a deep breath, and his hand holding the bottle trembled. Tell me honestly what's going on? Jiang Chen kicked Wei Qing to the side and said indifferently. I really don't know. I've never even heard of the Flame Phoenix clan. How could it be related to me? Wei Qing lay on the ground, thinking back to the things he had done. However, he could not remember anything about the Phoenix race. Let's talk inside. Hua Xian held the blood essence tightly and opened the barrier. After entering, Jiang Chen told Hua Xian everything he knew. Hua Fu also released the stall owner from her storage ring and pulled down his mask. Seniors, I really know I was wrong. I'll give you that drop of essence blood for free. I only ask that you forgive me. If there's anything you need, go find Wei Qing of the Heavenly Province Bank. He was the one who gave me the corpse of the bathing phoenix race. The stall owner knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Jiang Chen, begging for mercy. Bullsh *T. Wei Qing roared and immediately went forward to fight with him. However, when he saw the appearance of this person, he knew what had happened. He and the stall owner got to know each other because of gambling. About 10,000 years ago, the stall owner found the skeleton of a bird in his warehouse. Seeing that he wanted it, Wei Qing sold it for 30,000 immortal jades. How could I have the skeleton of the flame phoenix race in my house? Wei Qing sat on the ground. Although he did not know what kind of family this was, when he saw the environment he was in and felt the aura of the people around him, he roughly understood. I'm afraid you'll have to ask your father, Jiang Chen said. I didn't expect that immortal King Xianjun would want me to bathe in the blood essence of the flame phoenix race. This is really surprising. Huixian narrowed his eyes. He had met immortal King Xianjun a few times. On the surface, they respected each other, but behind his back, there was actually such a thing. Father. He refined a total of 2 drops of essence blood from the ancestor's skeleton. 1 drop is here, and the other is in his body. Huifu pointed at the stall owner. That's easy. Just force it out of his body. Huixian said casually. Patriarch, I was blinded for a moment. That's why I did something wrong. Please don't do anything to me. Once the essence blood leaves my body, I'll be finished. The stall owner knelt in front of Huixian and begged for mercy. That's not up to you to decide. Huixian sneered and directly used his immortal power to lift him in front of him. Then he opened his palm and clenched it tightly. Scarlet blood slowly seeped out from the pores of his body and gradually condensed into a blood ball in front of him. The pain of the blood being forcibly extracted made the stall owner cry out in pain. However, after absorbing the essence blood, his cultivation was only at the first level of the immortal realm. He could not break free from Huixian's immortal power. Seeing such a bloody scene, Wei Qing seemed to have lost all his strength. He sat on the ground, and a foul smell came from his crotch. Time passed by minute. All the blood in the stall owner's body was extracted. His cultivation was also reduced to the first level of the heaven immortal realm. The essence blood can make him an immortal realm expert in one fell swoop. Jiang Chen frowned slightly and asked, The essence blood contains the lifetime cultivation of our ancestor. This was originally the life-saving method of our flame-bathing phoenix clan. When we encountered a disaster, we used the flame of origin to force the essence blood out of our ancestor's corpse to raise our cultivation and protect the clan. I didn't expect that this group of people would succeed. Seeing the stall owner's body gradually shriveling and his vitality disappearing, Huixian waved his hand and threw the corpse outside the barrier while explaining. In the huge blood ball, there was a faint golden blood flowing slowly. I don't know if he was lucky or stupid. After closing the barrier again, Huixian could not help but shake his head and smile. Yeah, daring to absorb such a huge amount of essence blood with only the cultivation of the first level of the heaven immortal realm is almost no different from suicide. I didn't expect him to succeed. Jiang Chen sighed. Huixian snapped his fingers, and the flame of origin rose from his fingertips. Let's go. We'll wait for the people from the Heaven Province Bank to arrive and ask them what's going on. Huixian took a deep breath and walked back into the clan. As for the blood ball, it continued to be burned by the flame of origin. It wouldn't take long for the stall owner's blood to completely evaporate, leaving only the essence blood behind. Who can save me? Seeing Jiang Chen leave, Wei Qing cried loudly. He didn't know what kind of bad luck he had. It was just a tattered bird corpse in the warehouse that emitted a foul smell. Who would have thought that it was the corpse of the ancestor of the flame-bathing Phoenix clan? Chapter 1790. What is the origin of that Tianfu Bank? Sitting in his seat, Huixian thought about the whole thing and asked. In his opinion, if one didn't have any ability, it was absolutely impossible to steal the ancestor's bones from the mountain range. Even when it was stolen, he didn't even sense it at all. It wasn't until a long time later that he accidentally discovered it. Jiang Chen hesitated. Oh. Jiang Chen's reaction made Huixian ponder twice in his heart. He knew that Jiang Chen had the support of the white-robed immortal king behind him. If he didn't even dare to say it, then the power behind this bank was probably not small. However, after thinking for a while, Huixian decided to figure it out and continued to ask, You just need to tell me, the rest has nothing to do with you. Patriarch Huixian, if I say that the Tianfu Bank is my bank, would you believe it? Seeing that Huixian was determined to figure it out, Jiang Chun could only tell the truth. It's you. Huixian frowned. The Tianfu Bank joined the Ganges Bank half a year ago, and the Ganges Bank, like the Heaven and Earth Pharmacy, belongs to the Tianji sect. Naturally, it is my bank. Jiang Chun sighed. He didn't expect such a thing to happen. I see. Huixian nodded and understood the meaning of Jiang Chun's words. My understanding of this bank is limited. Let's wait for Wei Dashuan to come here first. Jiang Chun took a sip of tea and said in a deep voice. 3 days later, the blood essence in the pool of blood had been completely refined by the origin fire. Looking at the finger-sized blood, Jiang Chun could feel the energy contained in it. If he swallowed it, he would definitely be able to break through to the immortal realm. However, this thing was, after all, something from the ancestor's body. In this subtle atmosphere, Jiang Chun could only take a few more glances. In the evening, Wei Dashuan hurried over. When he heard from Song Yuanjia that he had to come to the southern region, he had already guessed the reason. However, he had never expected that Jiang Chun would actually have a good relationship with the Blazing Phoenix clan. Standing in front of the barrier, Wei Dashuan looked anxious. He realized that once he went in, he would definitely die. But his son had been taken away, and there was a young master like Jiang Chun. Even if he ran, there was nowhere to go. Patriarch, there's someone kneeling in front of the barrier. The clansman walked into the main hall and spoke to Jiang Chun and Huixian, who were sitting inside. Huixian's hand, that was holding the cup, trembled slightly. He knew that the people from the Heavenly Province Bank had arrived. However, this also meant that he was about to obtain the truth. He would know how the old ancestors' bones were stolen and what immortal King Xianjun wanted their knight for. Let's go out and take a look. Jiang Chun got up and walked out of the hall. Yes, great elder. The clansman nodded and followed behind Jiang Chun. In front of the barrier, Jiang Chun saw Wei Dashuan kneeling on the ground. When he saw Jiang Chun, Wei Dashuan's entire body couldn't help but tremble. Villa Master Wei, I've really underestimated you. Jiang Chun sneered and said indifferently, I really didn't expect that your Heavenly Province Bank would dare to extend its hand to the bones of the Blazing Phoenix clan's old ancestor. Young master, I didn't know about your relationship with the Blazing Phoenix clan. Wei Dashuan directly lay on the ground and shouted hysterically, If I had known, even if you gave me 100 guts, I wouldn't have dared to accept this deal. You mean, if Jiang Chun wasn't here, you would still have dared to make a move? Huixian appeared outside the barrier with his hands behind his back and asked in a deep voice. The moment he opened his mouth, the pressure in the entire world instantly dropped. Even Jiang Chun felt a slight discomfort in his chest. This was under the condition of the bloodline power. Otherwise, it would be even more unbearable. Clan leader Hua, I know I was wrong. Wei Dashuan's face was deathly pale. Under Huixian's pressure, his entire body lay on the ground. He couldn't even lift a finger. Those buried in that mountain range are all members of my Blazing Phoenix clan. There are even elders and previous clan leaders. You really have guts. Do you really think that because your Heavenly Province Bank owes a favor to immortal King Xianjun, I won't dare to make a move on you? Huixian flung his sleeve. This was the first time Jiang Chun had seen him so emotional. Even when he had just woken up from his coma, he hadn't been like this. Clan leader, please forgive me this time. I'm willing to guard the old ancestor's coffin for 100 years. Wei Dashuan begged bitterly. Let me ask you, how did you take the old ancestor's corpse away from the mountain range without me knowing? Huixian took a deep breath. Although the pressure had dissipated a little, it could be seen from his eyes that he was still furious. Clan leader, please withdraw your immortal chi. I can't hold on any longer. Wei Dashuan struggled in pain. It was already not easy for him to resist the pressure of a 7th-level immortal king for so long. Bring him in. I want to ask him carefully before I decide whether to let you go. Huixian glanced at him before returning to the barrier. The moment Wei Dashuan followed Jiang Chun into the barrier, he saw his son curled up on the ground. Father, save me. Wei Qing scrambled over and grabbed Wei Dashuan's leg, not ready to let go. Young master, this matter has nothing to do with Qing. It's It's all my fault. Why did you capture him here? Wei Dashuan hurriedly asked Jiang Chun. Do you see the blood essence in front of you? Jiang Chun pointed to the front. I see it. Wei Dashuan nodded at the golden drop of blood floating above the flame. Jiang Chun narrowed his eyes and said indifferently, this blood essence of the Flame Phoenix clan was extracted from the corpse and sold to someone else by your son. If I hadn't met it in the eastern region, I wouldn't have known about it. Hearing Jiang Chun's words, Wei Dashuan directly raised his hand and slapped Wei Qing's face. You bastard. Now that things had come to this, he didn't hide it anymore and directly said what was in his heart. I was wondering why I couldn't find the corpse after extracting the inner core. It turns out that it was sold by you. After saying this, Wei Dashuan pulled his ear and whispered, if it weren't for you, I would have buried the corpse. Today's incident wouldn't have happened. Father, I know I was wrong. Please save me. Wei Qing cried heartbreakingly. Save you? I don't know if I can walk out of here alive. Wei Dashuan raised his foot and kicked Wei Qing until he fainted. Villa Headway, if you don't want people to know, don't do it in the first place. Jiang Chun heard it clearly. He smiled and said, the day you took the corpse away, you should have thought of today's consequences. Yes. I will definitely tell young master and the clan leader everything I know and strive to leave here alive. Wei Dashuan nodded repeatedly. Chapter 1791. Inside the hall, Wei Dashuan knelt in the middle. In addition to Jiang Chun and Hua Fu, both sides were full of armored guards. Villa Master Wei, tell us, with your strength, how did you manage to steal the corpse from the mountain range? Or is it that you have the help of some expert behind you? You actually managed to deceive our entire Blazing Phoenix clan. Hua Xian coldly snorted. If it wasn't for Jiang Chun, he would have tortured Wei Dashuan to death before interrogating his soul. It's Immortal King Xian Jun. I can't remember if it was more than 100,000 years ago or tens of thousands of years ago. Immortal King Xian Jun suddenly came to our Heaven Province Bank and asked if we had the inner core of the Bathing Phoenix race. Although we have a big family, how could we have the inner core of a spiritual beast? Who would have thought that Immortal King Xian Jun would tell me that there was a corpse of a phoenix in a mountain range in the southern region? He even said that as long as I helped him bring it back, he would owe me a favor. Wei Dashuan didn't dare conceal anything, and he didn't care if he would offend Xian Jun. He directly spoke the truth. So, you came to us? Hua Xian's expression was calm, but the celestial powers in his body were frantically circulating. Immortal King Xian Jun placed a strand of immortal energy on my body. He said that it could prevent me from being sensed by you guys. Wei Dashuan lowered his head, his heart filled with regret. For a favor from Xian Jun, you came to our Blazing Phoenix clan to steal our ancestor's corpse. Hua Xian let out a long breath. Manor Master Wei, you're quite bold, but I wonder if you'll survive. Spare me, Patriarch. Wei Dashuan hurriedly begged for mercy. Look at Jiang Chun. Tell me the reason why Xian Jun wants our Flame Phoenix race's inner core, and I can spare your life. Hua Xian was only trying to scare him. He didn't really want to kill him. Xian Jun is one of the 3 great immortal kings. How would I dare to ask? Wei Dashuan had a bitter face. When I handed the corpse to Immortal King Xian Jun, he directly took out the inner core. Originally, I was going to send the corpse back to bury it, but I didn't expect that my son would sell it. It's fine if you don't know. Doesn't Xian Jun owe you a favor? Tell him to come here. I will confront him face to face, Hua Xian continued. Wei Dashuan was in a difficult position. Manor Master Wei, why? Hua Xian's killing intent surged. Could it be that you still remember the favor Xian Jun gave you? Aren't you afraid that my Bathing Phoenix clan will make you wish you were dead? No. Wei Dashuan hurriedly waved his hand, looked at Jiang Chun, and said with a bitter face, young master knows this. Some time ago, I already used the favor and asked Immortal King Xian Jun to do something for me. Oh? Xian Hu also looked at Jiang Chun. The Bank of the Land of Abundance wanted to devour the Ganges Bank, and they asked Immortal King Xian Jun to help them. As for the Ganges Bank, They asked the Thousand Harmony sect's great elder Su Qian to fight against Xianjun. Both of them retreated before a victor was decided. Jiang Chen cupped his hands at Xianhua and said, "In other words, you are no longer of any use to me. Jiang Chen, you don't mind me killing him, do you?" Hearing this, Hua Xian immediately lost interest in Wei Daxuan. "Young master, other than me, no one can take care of such a huge business like the Heavenly Province Bank. If I die, the bank will definitely be in a mess. I'm afraid that within 100 years, we won't be able to find a suitable person to take over my position." Wei Daxuan was shocked and placed all his bets on Jiang Chun. "Is that so?" Hua Xian asked. "Yes." Jiang Chun was somewhat helpless. He was already a member of the Bathing Phoenix clan. Wei Daxuan had stolen the ancestors' bones, so he would definitely die. Thinking about the Heavenly Province Bank, if Wei Daxuan really died, no one would be able to take over his position. The immortal jade that was continuously entering his pocket would also stop. "Since you are still useful to Jiang Chun, I will let you live for now and let you return to the Heavenly Province Bank. However, you have to remember that if you dare to do something similar in the future, no matter what the reason is or who is protecting you, I will let you die here." With Jiang Chun here, no matter how angry Hua Xian was, he couldn't deal with Wei Daxuan. "Thank you, young master." "Thank you. Clan leader Hua." Wei Daxuan heaved a sigh of relief and quickly kowtowed to express his thanks. "However, your son needs to stay in my family. If you dare, I will kill him first and then kill you." Hua Xian waved his hand at him and shouted in a low voice, "Hurry up and get lost. If you don't, I'm afraid I won't be able to hold back and kill you." "Thank you, clan leader Hua, for sparing my life." Wei Daxuan kowtowed twice on the ground before rolling and crawling out. "Clan leader Hua Xian, I'm really sorry." Jiang Chen stood up, cupped his hands, and bowed to him as he said in a deep voice, "This matter has already passed for too long. I'm already very satisfied to know the truth." Hua Xian was also a little discouraged and said, "You have helped our Bathing Phoenix clan so much. Naturally, I have to consider your situation. However, I don't understand why Xianjun wants our inner core." Hua Xian rubbed his chin and asked in confusion, "Could it be that he is injured?" Jiang Chen was also a little curious. With Xianjun's strength, he no longer needed the inner core to increase his cultivation. The only possibility was that he used it to heal his injuries. However, with his status, he could obtain any pill in the immortal world. There was no need for him to do such a thing. If I can get in touch with him, I might be able to find out the answer. Hua Xian was worried that Xianjun might have obtained the inner core for some reason. If that was the case, then it was very likely that he would need a second or third inner core. "I can?" Jiang Chun didn't think twice. "You?" Hua Xian was a little surprised. "I can also get in touch with Xianjun, but he knows my identity. If I go, he will definitely know why I am here." Now that the Bathing Phoenix clan has just recovered, if they go against Xianjun, I'm afraid they will suffer again. Therefore, I am the best choice. Xianjun doesn't know about my relationship with the Bathing Phoenix clan. Moreover, I have a good relationship with one of his disciples. I'm the best choice to go. Jiang Chen shrugged. Now that he had found Mu Yud, it was time to meet Nian Chang'e. "You can go." Hua Xian didn't know about the feud between Jiang Chun and Xianjun, but he was still a little worried. However, Xianjun is the strongest person in the entire immortal world. The Bathing Phoenix bloodline in your body might be seen through by him. If he attacks you, what will you do? "Ha, clan leader Hua Xian. Have you forgotten about my relationship with the White Robe Immortal King?" Hearing this, Jiang Chen laughed. Now, not only was there by Xianling, there was also Gu Hua. Out of the 3 immortal kings, there were already 2 immortal kings standing behind him. Jiang Chen was not afraid of Xianjun. Moreover, Nian Chang'e was still his subordinate. For the sake of his 72 lotuses, Xianjun wouldn't attack him. Chapter 1792. Hua Xian hesitated for a moment. He didn't really want Jiang Chen to go. But when he thought about the White Robe Immortal King, he didn't think it was a problem. This person could appear when he was fighting with Hui Yuanba, so Xianjun should be there too. But what he was worried about was whether the white robe immortal king would offend Xian Jun for Jiangchen. After thinking for a moment, Xian looked up at Jiangchen and asked, "Do you still have the thing I gave you?" "It's always been in the storage ring." Jiangchen nodded. "I thought about it, and only you are the most suitable. If you can't find out why Xian Jun needs the inner core of the Flame Phoenix clan, don't force yourself. If you encounter any danger, crush the crystal immediately, and I will rush over. Although I'm not as strong as Xian Jun, it won't be a problem to protect you." Xian took a deep breath and said to Jiangchen in a deep voice, "Got it." Jiangchen agreed and got up to leave. Clan leader Xian, there's no time to lose. I'll go back to the North region now and prepare to go to Xian Jun's immortal sect. Wait, I'll give you something else. Seeing Jiangchen so anxious, Xian was very satisfied. At the very least, this kid treated him as a member of the clan and was anxious to solve his clan's problems. "What?" Jiangchen turned around. "Come out with me." Xian waved at Jiangchen and walked out quickly. "What is it?" Jiangchen asked Fu. "I don't know." Fu shrugged and said, "But the thing father gave you definitely won't be too bad." Walking out of the hall, the three of them arrived in front of the barrier. Wei Qing was still curled up in the corner like a dead dog. He looked up at Xian and Jiangchen, not daring to say a word. When his father left just now, he only shouted one sentence and was scolded badly. "Take him away." Xian looked at Wei Qing with some disgust. He then said to the guard beside him, "Give him a room to live in. He is not allowed to walk around the barrier. As long as he doesn't die, it's fine." "Yes, Patriarch." Two guards stepped forward. He dragged Wei Qing, who was lying on the ground with his pants emitting a foul smell, away. "Jiangchen, you brought back 2 drops of essence blood this time. I've already kept one of them in case I need it. As for this drop, I'll give it to you. You can absorb it." Xian waved his hand and dispersed the flame of origin. The essence blood floated above his palm. "Fire Xian clan leader, you absolutely cannot do this." Although Jiangchen coveted it, he still shook his head repeatedly. This was extracted from the ancestor's bones. If I were to absorb it, wouldn't it be a great disrespect to him? "You can't say that. You're the great elder of our family. You're qualified to absorb it. Moreover, the bloodline power in your body is enough to ensure that there won't be any problems during the absorption. Even if White Robe Immortal King and I can make it to Xian Jun's sect this time, I'm still a little worried about your safety. After you absorb it, you'll be able to reach the immortal realm. Then, I'll be more at ease." Xian sent the essence blood to Jiangchen. "Since Fire Xian clan leader said so, it would be impolite for me to refuse." Jiangchen's eyes were burning. He had already given in. If he continued to give in, it would seem hypocritical. Moreover, after listening to Xian's words, he didn't feel burdened in his heart. However, Xian's expression changed. He said in a deep voice, "You have to consider it carefully. If you swallow this essence blood, your cultivation will definitely rise to the immortal realm. At that time, according to the promise of 2 realms and the promise of 1,000 years, even immortal monarchs can attack you. Immortal monarchs and immortal monarchs are the biggest dividing line in the entire immortal realm. I'm not afraid at all." Jiangchen smiled. He directly took the essence blood from Xian's hand and threw it into his mouth. In an instant, Jiangchen's body shone brightly. Even the phantom of a phoenix appeared on its own behind him. "This stupid kid," Xian cursed. He lifted Jiangchen and ran into the main hall. Because the phantom of a phoenix blocked his vision, he almost tripped on the stairs. "He's so reckless." Fu looked worried. Ancestors' essence blood. It was the most nourishing thing in the entire Flame Phoenix clan. One needed to use the power of the bloodline to slowly absorb it into the body and fuse with it. But who would have thought that before he explained how to absorb it, Jiangchen would swallow it in one gulp? In the room, Xian directly took off Jiangchen's clothes and covered it with a feather between his legs. At this moment, Jiangchen was like a golden man. His entire body was emitting a golden light. His eyes were tightly shut. The pure power of the bloodline in his body was circulating crazily, absorbing the terrifying energy in the essence blood. Has he always been like this? Huoxian reached out and placed his hand on Jiang Chen's back. While sensing the situation in his body, he turned his head and asked, "Not really." Huo Fu shook her head. Fortunately, he has the power of the bloodline in his body. Otherwise, his body would have exploded and he would have died. Huoxian sighed and said helplessly, "Why is that stall owner fine?" Huo Fu asked curiously. "He's just lucky. In the immortal world, there are always some people with extraordinary luck." Huoxian replied directly. However, he was a little regretful. He shouldn't have killed him so easily. Under Huoxian's regulation, Jiang Chen's body gradually calmed down. "He's your man. You stay here and guard him." Huoxian retracted his hand. After pushing Huoxian to the side of the bed, he opened the door and left. Looking at Jiang Chen's naked body, Huo Fu couldn't help but feel shy. 3 days later, the light emitted by Jiang Chen finally disappeared completely. However, if one took a closer look, they would find his skin had turned a light golden color. Not only did the blood essence increase his cultivation, but it also made his body stronger than before. The light hidden under his skin was the phoenix armor of the Blazing Phoenix clan. In times of crisis, it could instantly cover the entire body. Even a first-level immortal monarch could withstand the attack of a first-level immortal king for a short period of time without being injured. Fire Lotus just watched quietly, not even blinking once. When Jiang Chen's tightly closed eyes suddenly opened, a wave of fluctuation stronger than before swept out from the room. "What's going on? The Great Elder's cultivation has broken through again?" Previously, when he obtained the power of our clan's bloodline, he rose from the 5th level Heaven Immortal Realm to the 9th level Heaven Immortal Realm. Now, he has reached the 3rd level Heaven Immortal Realm. How can others live with such cultivation speed? Don't talk nonsense. The Great Elder absorbed the blood essence to improve so quickly. If he could improve so quickly with his own talent, he would have been an immortal emperor by now. Many members of the Blazing Phoenix clan were discussing. Some were shocked, some were envious, but most of them were affirming Huoxian. Chapter 1793. When Hui Yuanba ruled, the entire Bathing Phoenix clan was shrouded in a huge shadow. They couldn't see the future of the clan, but now that Huoxian had returned, everything was different. There was even a great elder like Jiang Chen in the clan. 3rd layer Immortal Realm. Not bad. Jiang Chen clenched his fist and felt more power than before. He nodded with satisfaction. Following his breakthrough, the immortal arts of Emperor Qianji in his mind became clearer. Even the parts that he could not understand before were now clear to him without having to think about it. "I'm afraid you can fight with an immortal monarch now, right?" Huo Fu had seen Jiang Chen's real strength. The cultivation of Immortal Realm or Immortal Realm was just a disguise. It's difficult. The gap between an immortal venerable and an immortal monarch is too big. Jiang Chen shook his head and said, "But I'm afraid no one below the immortal monarch can stop me. Even so, you still have to be careful when you go to Xianjun's place. I can't go with you this time." Huo Fu admired Jiang Chen's confidence, but in the immortal world, there were many geniuses who died because of overconfidence. This kind of thing had happened more than once. "I know." Jiang Chen smiled and stroked her hair. Getting up and putting on his clothes, Jiang Chen took a deep breath and said, "Let's go. We have to ask about Xianjun as soon as possible. We have to return to the spatial crack and investigate Corpse Cliff." With the improvement of his strength, Jiang Chen's words carried more weight. If he met Ku Yu, who was possessed by the soul of Black Sect's sect master, Jiang Chen was confident that he could fight him to a draw. "We've already exposed our identities in there. They must have found us. Do you think we can still find out?" Huo Fu tilted her head slightly. "Corpse Cliff won't take me seriously now." Jiang Chen smiled. "Yes." Huo Fu nodded in agreement. After bidding farewell to Huoxian, Jiang Chen left the southern region with Huo Fu. This time, Jiang Chen did not know when he would return. It could be very short, or it could be very long. Due to the increase in his strength, in less than a day, Jiang Chen stood in the Thousand Harmonies sect. Su Qian was so happy that he couldn't even close his mouth when he felt that he had become an immortal again. His original plan was to wait for Jiang Chun to reach the Immortal King realm before telling him the truth. Then, he would assist Jiang Chun and allow his sect to once again stand tall in the immortal realm. From the looks of it, that day was not far away. After explaining the situation to Su Qian, Jiang Chun immediately left with Mu Yud. Compared to Bai Xianling, who kept a low profile, and Gu Hua, who disappeared without a trace, Xian Jun was probably the one with the highest profile among the three immortal kings. Not only did everyone know that he had a sect in the northern region, but they also knew that he had a sect. It was even to the extent that the sects that were attached to them were extremely high profile. They used Xian Jun's banner to act tyrannically in the immortal dimension, and when they encountered trouble, Xian Jun was happy to stand up for them. He seemed to really enjoy this feeling of happiness. Central part of the North region. This place was only 100 miles away from the Kunlun Immortal Mountain. This was the most prosperous city in the entire North region, and it was dozens of times larger than the Ganges Bank's Ganges city. Among them, there were countless chambers of commerce, banks, sects, and even families. There was only one reason why this group of people gathered here, and that was because Immortal King Xian Jun's Jade Sword Immortals were here. Even in their dreams, they wanted to have some relationship with Xian Jun. Not to mention whether they could get any benefits, just talking about it would give them a lot of face. Jade Sword City's Jade Sword Immortal sect, Xian Jun is really not low-key at all. Walking through the city gate, Jiang Chun looked at the bustling crowd and couldn't help but laugh. Who asked him to be one of the three immortal kings, the strongest person in this world? Muya didn't feel much about this. As long as you were strong enough, you could do anything you wanted. Let's go. I've interacted with Xian Jun so many times, but this is the first time I'm entering his sect. Looking up at the pure white sword that towered into the clouds, Jiang Chun knew that it was where the Jade Sword sect was located. The two walked side by side until they reached the entrance of the sect. F***CK, Jiang Chun couldn't help but curse. Look at the Jade Sword sect. Looking at his own Divine Secrets Pavilion, it was dilapidated and was simply a place where even birds wouldn't shit. If the white-robed Immortal King was behind the Divine Secrets Pavilion, the entire immortal world would probably laugh their heads off. The two of you stop. A disciple in white with a long sword on his back blocked Jiang Chun's path. I have something to say to your Immortal King Xian Jun, Jiang Chun said casually. You're really boasting. What's your cultivation level? Why are you asking for my master's help directly? I think you must be practicing. You must be out of your mind. Just leave. Jiang Chun's words made the disciple burst into laughter. If I can't find Immortal King Xian Jun, then I'll look for Nian Chang'e. Jiang Chun didn't argue with him. After all, how could one of the three immortal kings meet so easily? Senior Brother Chang'e isn't someone you can meet. Hurry up and leave. Don't cause trouble here. Seeing that Jiang Chun was replaced, the disciple was even more certain that Jiang Chun was here to cause trouble. He hurriedly pushed him and Mu Yud out of the sect. Hurry up and leave. When the Protector patrols this place, he'll teach you a lesson. Is it so troublesome to meet that kid now? Mu Yud was a little dissatisfied. Xian Jun thinks highly of the 72 lotuses in his body. He invited him to join the school in person. I'm afraid no one except Xian Yi and Xian Er can rival him in status in the school, Jiang Chun sighed. If he knew that the gap between Xian Jun and Bai Xianling was so big, he wouldn't have entered the Divine Secret Pavilion. If he entered the Jade Sword sect, he would be able to get more things. He wouldn't even need to go out to earn immortal jades. As long as he opened his mouth, Xian Jun would send them over. Senior Brother Chang'e. While Jiang Chun was thinking, the disciple looked to the side and waved his hand. Nian Chang'e, you're doing well now. You've become the favorite of Immortal King Xian Jun. Mu Yud went up and patted his chest. Why are you here? Nian Chang'e was walking forward with his head lowered. When he heard the familiar voice, he was instantly interested. He quickly grabbed Mu Yud and Jiang Chun's arms and asked excitedly, We're here to see you and talk to Immortal King Xian Jun. Jiang Chun looked at Nian Chang'e and saw a colorful lotus on his chest. Come in. Nian Chang'e held Jiang Chun's hand with one hand and Mu Yud's hand with the other and walked up the stone steps. I'm sorry. I really didn't know you were Senior Brother Chang's friends. I've offended you. The disciple held his sword and apologized to Jiang Chun and Mu Yud. It's okay. Just don't stop us the next time we come. Jiang Chun waved his hand and didn't mind. Chapter 1794. Entering the sect, Jiang Chun couldn't help but feel envious when he saw the orderly disciples practicing their swordsmanship. When he was done with his current affairs and returned to the Divine Mystery Pavilion, he would definitely reorganize it. After catching up with Nian Chang'e for a while, Jiang Chun asked where the main hall was and walked in. Sitting in a chair, Jiang Chun was drinking tea, minding his own business. He looked quite casual. Although the protectors at the door didn't recognize him, they thought that Jiang Chun was an important guest of the sect master when they saw how relaxed he was. After all, they had never seen someone so arrogant. How tiring! After sitting for a while, Immortal King Xian Jun walked in quickly. Greetings, Immortal King Xian Jun. Jiang Chun slowly put down his teacup and cupped his hands. Ah? Why are you here? Who let you in? Xian Jun was startled by Jiang Chun, and he almost flew away. I saw that there was no one, so I came in. Jiang Chun shrugged and said, You. Xian Jun turned his head and glared at the protectors. They let Jiang Chun into the main hall so easily. Where was the dignity of the Jade Sword sect? What's wrong with you guys? Why did you let him in? Sect Master, this kid is too relaxed. He walked in so openly in front of us. We thought he was your guest. That's right, Sect Master. We've never seen someone so arrogant. The two protectors were more aggrieved than the other. Before they could finish speaking, Xian Jun waved his hand impatiently at them and said, All right, go do what you need to do. After the protectors left, Xian Jun looked at Jiang Chun. Kid, you actually dare to come into my sect. Xian Jun narrowed his eyes. If it wasn't for Zhou Kunlun, he would have killed Jiang Chun with a palm strike. Mystic 3 and Mystic 4 were his sword disciples. He spent a lot of effort to nurture them, but they died in the hands of this kid. Why wouldn't I dare? Didn't I come in already? Jiang Chun shrugged and said. The corners of Xian Jun's mouth twitched as he asked, Tell me, what do you want from me? Nothing, I just came to see Nian Chang'e and ask you something. I wonder if Immortal King Xian Jun has heard of the bathing fire phoenix race? Jiang Chun sat on the chair and asked, So, what if I've heard of it? So what if I haven't? Xian Jun smiled and sat opposite Jiang Chun. It's not the first time I've met Immortal King Xian Jun, so I won't beat around the bush. If there's anything I want to say, I'll just say it directly. Jiang Chun originally wanted to do it step by step, but after seeing Xian Jun, he lost his interest. Speak frankly. Xian Jun nodded. Immortal King Xian Jun, tens of thousands of years ago, you once asked Wei Daxuan of the Heavenly Province Bank to obtain the inner core of the bathing flame phoenix race for you. I wonder what you used it for? Please tell me directly. Jiang Chun looked at him and asked in a low voice. Huh? Xian Jun suddenly laughed loudly. From his expression, it could be seen that Jiang Chun's news had indeed shocked him. If you want to say it, this is between me and the bathing flame phoenix race. It has nothing to do with you. Xian Jun looked at Jiang Chun and asked, Jiang Chun, don't think that you can be arrogant in front of me just because you have Su Qian behind you. If I want to get rid of you, I still have a way. I'm already a member of the bathing flame phoenix race. Jiang Chun frowned slightly, and the phantom of a phoenix appeared behind him. You've fused with the power of the bathing flame phoenix race's bloodline? Immortal King Xian Jun narrowed his eyes as he stared behind Jiang Chun. He hadn't thought of this. That's right, Jiang Chun said in a low voice. I'm now the great elder of the bathing flame phoenix race. Immortal King Xian Jun obtained our ancestors' inner core. It's already magnanimous of us not to pursue the matter. Can't the Immortal King tell us the truth? If you really want to know, ask for Xian to come and see me personally. You're not qualified yet. Xian Jun sneered. With a wave of his hand, he blew Jiang Chun out of the hall and landed on the open space in front of him. The phantom of the phoenix also disappeared behind him. What a joke. A kid at the third level of the immortal realm dares to come and question me? Xian Jun couldn't help but shake his head and sigh as he looked at Jiang Chun. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. Immortal King Xianjun, aren't you afraid that the immortal realm will know about this one day? Zhang Chen asked sternly as he stood up and stared at the figure in the hall. Xianer, where are you? Chase this person out of the sect. Xianjun took a deep breath as killing intent surged in his eyes. The thing he couldn't stand the most in his life was being threatened by others, and Zhang Chen had touched his bottom line. As soon as he finished speaking, two figures flew out from the depths of the sect. One was a second-level immortal monarch. The other was a first-level immortal monarch. Both of them stood in front of Zhang Chen with swords on their backs. Master said to leave our sect immediately. Otherwise, he won't be polite to you. Xian Yi looked at Zhang Chen. He felt that this person was familiar, but he was sure that he had never seen him before. If you don't say anything, it means that you're not clean. Zhang Chen wasn't stupid enough to fight against two immortal monarchs. Xianjun didn't say anything. He didn't mention anything. In fact, it was also an answer. Zhang Chen, what did you say? Xianjun's figure was triggered by these words. He flashed out of the hall and stared at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen? You killed Xian San and Xian Si, right? Hearing their master's words, their eyes turned gloomy as killing intent erupted from their bodies. The four of them had grown up together, cultivated together, and sparred with each other. Who would have thought that their third and fourth brother would die in just a few months? Even their master had never told them the real reason. The two of them kept asking around before they remembered Zhang Chen's name. Master, Xian San and Xian Si died in his hands. Can we kill him as a sacrifice to our two junior brothers? Xian Er asked through gritted teeth as he clenched his long sword tightly and stared at Zhang Chen. It's up to you. Xian Jun waved his hand. Now that he's a second-level immortal monarch, you're not violating the agreement between the two realms. However, you must spare his life. Understood, Master. With Xian Jun's permission, the two of them immediately surrounded Zhang Chen from both sides. Xian Jun, Celestial King, are you still unwilling to tell me? Zhang Chen asked again as he looked at Xian Jun. If you want to know the answer, you can ask me when you've reached the Celestial King realm. Otherwise, you can ask with Xian to come here personally. However, you're not qualified to know the answer now, Xian Jun said in a deep voice with his hands behind his back. Master, don't talk nonsense with him. Xian Yi stared at Zhang Chen. After speaking, he launched an attack. Chapter 1795. Zhang Chen was on high alert. The shadow of the phoenix appeared behind his back, and the imperial light blade appeared in his hand. Facing two high immortal dukes at the same time, he had to use all his trump cards. Otherwise, he would be seriously injured or even die here. With your strength, stop struggling. Stay where you are, and let me beat you up. Then, I'll throw you out of the sect. Then, I'll forget about Mystic 3 and Mystic 4. Mystic 1 and Mystic 2 looked at him with disdain. They had lived in the Jade Sword sect since young. Although they had seen many talented people, a third-level immortal who could fight a ninth-level immortal was already considered one of the top in the Jade Sword sect. Moreover, in the entire Jade Sword sect, their talents could be ranked in the top 20. Therefore, both of them thought that Zhang Chen was no match for them in a one-on-one fight. Is that so? Zhang Chen looked at them coldly. Mystic One's long sword was the first to arrive. His piercing cold sword chi swept across the ground. The stone bricks could not withstand the force and exploded. He wanted to cut off Zhang Chen's arm with his sword. A cultivator without an arm was like a tiger without teeth. No matter how high his cultivation base was, he would not be able to display his true strength. Just as the long sword was about to reach him, Zhang Chen's figure suddenly disappeared. Then, a rainbow-colored sword chi appeared in midair. It was aimed at Mystic 2's back. Mystic 2, be careful. Mystic 1 shouted when he saw Zhang Chen disappear. Mystic 2's heart skipped a beat. Even he could not reach such speed. He instinctively raised his sword to block the attack. Bang! With a loud sound, Zhang Chen's long sword collided with his sword. The huge force caused Mystic 2 to kneel on the ground. Even the stone floor was deeply dented. Something's not right. His strength is strange. Mystic 1 heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Mystic 2 withstanding the attack. However, he soon realized that something was wrong. Jiang Chen's speed far exceeded his. In fact, when Jiang Chen disappeared from his sight, he couldn't even catch a glimpse of his afterimage. This was a speed that he had only seen in heavenly high immortals and above. After blocking Jiang Chen's attack, Mystic 2 palms slapped the ground. His whole body quickly flipped over, and the tip of his sword slashed towards Jiang Chen's chest. Seeing that Jiang Chen was still in a state where he was unable to stop his attack, a smile appeared on Mystic 2's face. With his tens of thousands of years of experience in the Jade Sword sect, how could he be so easily defeated by a mere celestial cultivator? He had merely underestimated his opponent earlier. The tip of the sword swept past and was about to pierce Jiang Chen's chest. In the next instant, the tip of his sword did not cut open Jiang Chen's stomach as he had imagined. Instead, it landed on Jiang Chen's chest. Crack! A barrier descended from the sky. Jiang Chen quickly retreated. He held the seven-colored sword in one hand and formed a series of hand seals with the other. Before Mystic 2 could even react, he was already trapped inside the soul-slaying spirit-suppressing formation. Two chains bound his arms tightly together and hung him in midair. This person is really strong. He's actually fighting against Senior Brother Mystic 1 and Senior Brother Mystic 2 with just a mere heavenly high immortal cultivation. It's hard to say. Mystic 1 and Mystic 2 have yet to display their true strength. Many guardians and disciples were attracted to the scene. They were dumbfounded as they watched the scene unfold in front of them. However, it was without a doubt that they were impressed by the strength Jiang Chen had displayed. What kind of formation is this? Mystic 2's sword fell to the ground. When he tried to break the formation, he realized that his immortal chi had been sealed, making it difficult for him to use it. Jiang Chen retreated a dozen steps. Just as he was about to injure Mystic 2, a white light flashed past his eyes. Swoosh! Mystic 1 swung his sword. Jiang Chen tilted his body abruptly to dodge his attack. Then he pressed one of his hands on the ground. A shapeless fluctuation spread rapidly. Dark clouds gathered in the sky instantly. Mystic 2, don't hold back. Xian Yi shouted at Xian Air, who was in the formation. Jiang Chen's strength isn't at all in the third level of the immortal realm. If we only want to injure him severely instead of killing him, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for us to kill him. Understood, Senior Brother. Mystic 2 nodded vigorously and closed his eyes. In an instant, a majestic immortal chi broke through the seal of the formation and flowed out of his body. The immortal chi changed, and 12 transparent swords appeared behind him like wings. Mastery of 10,000 swords, heaven-splitting slash. Mystic 1, who was beside Jiang Chen, raised the long sword in his hand. As his voice rang out, tens of thousands of short swords flew out from every corner of the Jade Sword sect and gathered in the air above him. Finally, they formed a long sword that was dozens of meters long. Sect Sword Mound Technique, 10,000 swords returned to origin and 10,000 swords mastery. Many people in the Jade Sword sect cried out in surprise when they saw this. The swordsmanship that Mystic 1 and Mystic 2 had displayed was one of the most profound and mysterious swordsmanship in the sect Sword Tomb. Before this, they had only seen Xian Jun and a few other elders who had gone into seclusion perform it. How does this kid know Guhua's formation? As he stood in the hall, Xian Jun's expression changed from the initial resentment to the current shock. Although he had never seen this formation before, he felt a trace of familiarity from it. However, he could not care less about it now. Mystic 1 and Mystic 2 were about to use their immortal techniques. Jiang Chen had not only attracted a bolt of lightning from the sky, but also secretly absorbed the spiritual energy of all the trees within 100 miles and gathered it in his body. If they were to really fight, the Jade Sword sect would most likely suffer a calamity. Moreover, Xian Jun could not guarantee that Jiang Chen was not related to Guhua. Zhou Kunlun from Kunlun Mountain, Lin Baichao from the Thousand Harmonies sect, and now an ancient immortal king. If they really killed Jiang Chen today, they would be in big trouble. Stop! Xianjun immediately shouted at the thought of this. But at that moment, Xianyi and Xianair couldn't tell what he was talking about. The only thing on their minds was to try their best to kill Jiangchen here. Otherwise, their reputations in the Jade Sword School, and even in the whole North Field, would suffer a disastrous decline. Heaven-splitting slash! Mystic One roared. His long sword, which was dozens of meters long, directly locked onto Jiang Chen's position and fiercely slashed at him. Mystic 2 also used all his strength to break the soul-slaying, soul-suppressing formation. He controlled the 12 long swords on his back and stabbed at Jiang Chen at the same time. Looks like I have to go all out. Jiang Chen's lips curled into a maniacal smile. At this point, it was too late to crush the crystal to ask Xian for help. He could only rely on his own strength to fight against them. After absorbing all the wood attribute energy within 100 miles, Jiang Chen's cultivation had reached the 7th level of the immortal realm. 2 huge vines were madly approaching the feet of Mystic 1 and Mystic 2. Chapter 1796. That vigorous thunderbolt also struck down from the sky. The expressions on everyone's faces changed. The disciples fled in all directions while the protectors looked at Xianjun. Something big is going to happen. Xianjun's forehead was covered in cold sweat. He did not expect Jiang Chen, a third-stage divine immortal, to be so powerful that he could force his 2 favorite disciples into such a state. He dashed out, but it was too late. Just as the immortal duke was about to protect Jiang Chen and resist the attacks of Xian Yi and Xianair with his strong body to avoid offending the 3 powerhouses at the same time, 2 spatial rifts suddenly appeared behind Jiang Chen. Don't you dare hurt my disciples. You're so annoying. Why are we in danger again and again? I'm about to throw up. 2 voices rang out. A white figure flashed out from the left spatial rift. With a slight push of his finger, he blocked the 12 swords that Xianair had shot at him. A talisman floated out from the right spatial rift and sealed the long sword in Xian Yi's hand. It froze in midair, not daring to move at all. In a flash, Xianjun steadied himself and slammed his hands on the ground. 2 surges of immortal force surged out and forcibly pulled Xian Yi and Xianair out of their original spot. They only stopped when they were more than 10 meters away. Crack! Crack! The moment they left, vines suddenly broke through the stone bricks at the place where the 2 of them were just standing. Then, a powerful thunderbolt struck down from the sky. F***CK. Is this really the divine immortal realm? Many disciples broke out in cold sweat when they saw this scene. Some of them had a higher cultivation than Jiang Chen, but they were afraid. They knew that if they were hit by the lightning, they would not be saved. Why are you here? 2 figures walked out of the spatial rift. They looked at each other and froze in midair. In the hall, Xian Yi and Xianair stood in the middle, while Jiang Chen stood at the side. The 2 of them stared at Jiang Chen. If their master hadn't suddenly taken them away, they would have been injured. And if the 2 of them hadn't suddenly attacked, Jiang Chen would have been seriously injured. Apart from these 3 people, there were still 3 people inside. They were Immortal King Xianjun, Immortal King White Robe, and Immortal King Yigu. The 3 celestial kings looked at each other awkwardly, not knowing where to start. That Mystic 1 and Mystic 2, I only asked you to injure Jiang Chen, but you actually wanted to kill him. All of you, go to the Sword Catacomb and face the wall for 30 days. Without my orders, no one is allowed to come out. Immortal King Xianjun cleared his throat and shouted, "Yes, master." Although the 2 of them were not convinced, they still obeyed the order and walked out. There's no need for you to compensate for the damaged area. You've opened my eyes today. You're the first person I've seen to be able to fight against my 2 disciples with your divine immortal cultivation and not be at a disadvantage. You even have the ability to injure them. After reprimanding his disciple, Xianjun looked at Jiang Chen with a complicated gaze. Crossing the border to fight. Rich battle experience. Calm and steady reaction. 7 types of immortal energy. And being able to release formations at the same time when attacking. He had never seen such talent before. Compared to Jiang Chen, his disciple, Nian Chang'e, who had the 72 lotuses, seemed to be inferior. Immortal King Xianjun, I don't care about these. I just want to know the truth from you. Jiang Chun wasn't afraid before. Now that Gu Hua and Bai Xianling were here, Jiang Chun was even more fearless. When your cultivation is higher in the future, I'll naturally tell you. Immortal King Xianjun frowned slightly. He didn't expect Jiang Chun to still be thinking about this matter, but he couldn't say it out loud. All right. Jiang Chun didn't ask further. What did you call Jiang Chun just now? You called him disciple, right? Bai Xianling crossed her legs and looked at Gu, who was sitting at the side, and asked, You're asking me? I was just about to ask you. When my disciple is in danger, it's natural for me to come and save him. But why did you suddenly appear here? Are you trying to snatch my disciple away? Gu burst out laughing upon hearing this. Her eyes were filled with disdain towards Bai Xianling. I have to say, you've done well. Being able to trap Xian with your current cultivation and force him to use his full strength is already not bad. After saying this, Gu gave Jiang Chun a thumbs up. Bai Xianling felt that something was wrong. She quickly looked at Jiang Chun and said, Little Chun, tell him whose disciple you are. That's right. Explain to the legendary white-robed immortal king and ask him to give up. Gu added. Jiang Chun looked at the two of them. Under Xianjun's gaze, he said helplessly, Stop arguing. You're both my masters. I'm your disciple. Ah? This time, not only Bai Xianling and Gu Hua were stunned. Even Xianjun, who was watching the show, was stunned. Out of the three immortal kings, Jiang Chun was the disciple of two of them. Together with Zhou Kunlun and Lin Baichao, no one in the entire immortal realm would dare to offend him. If he were to come knocking in the future, he would have to treat him well. Come out with me? Bai Xuanling's face darkened. She grabbed Jiang Chun's arm and brought him out of the hall. She asked in a low voice, When did you become Gu Hua's disciple? A few days ago. Jiang Chun said, honestly, how dare you become someone else's disciple without my permission? I think you're asking for punishment from the pavilion, Bai Xianling said angrily. Initially, he was proud of himself every day. He was happy to have such a talented disciple like Jiang Chun. However, in the blink of an eye, Jiang Chun had another master besides him. Moreover, the second master's strength and status were not inferior to his. This made Bai Xianling feel threatened. I'm the pavilion master of the Heavenly Mystery Pavilion now, not you. Jiang Chun rolled his eyes. You brat! Bai Xianling was so angry that he took a few deep breaths. However, after a short moment, he suddenly laughed in a despicable manner. Did you manage to obtain any spirit formations or world spirit techniques from Gu Hua? I saw that the rune he used to save you earlier was pretty good. If you managed to learn it, teach it to me. What do you think? You're so despicable. Jiang Chun also laughed. He had the same idea as Bai Xianling to become Gu Hua's disciple. What are you talking about? Gu Hua walked out of the door and saw Bai Xianling and Jiang Chun laughing at each other. She felt that something was wrong. What we talk about has nothing to do with you, Bai Xianling said with her hands behind her back. TSK, Jiang Chun, come with me. I have something to talk to you. Gu Hua snorted and waved at Jiang Chun. He did not want to lose face in front of Bai Xianling. Chapter 1797. What's wrong, master? Jiang Chun followed Gu Hua to the other side. Why didn't you tell me that you've already taken Bai Xianling as your master? Gu Hua frowned slightly and asked. You didn't ask me. Jiang Chun shrugged and replied. When I just ascended to the immortal realm, I already took Bai Xianling as my master. When you asked me to be your disciple, I saw how enthusiastic you were, so I couldn't reject you. Gu Hua, did you hear that? Bai Xianling walked over with her hands behind her back. Hear what? Although Gu Hua was displeased, she was too embarrassed to show it in front of Bai Xianling. From now on, I'm Jiang Chun's great master, and you can barely be considered as his second master. When you see me, you have to call me Big Brother. Do you understand? Bai Xianling held back her laughter. Apart from being surprised, this matter was even more of a pleasant surprise. She had always been interested in Gu Hua's spirit formations and spirit formations. Unfortunately, she could not bring herself to ask for it, and she could not study it herself. But now it was all good. With Jiang Chun as the middleman, she could let Jiang Chun learn it and then teach it to her. Moreover, she had unknowingly suppressed Gu Hua, killing two birds with one stone. K. Gu Hua rolled up his sleeves and prepared to fight with Bai Xianling. But after thinking about it, what Bai Xianling said was not wrong. Can the two of you not talk outside? Xianjun walked out of the hall and could not help but take a few more glances at Jiang Chun. Gu Hua snorted coldly and left Jiang Chun and Bai Xianling behind. Bai Xianling raised her eyebrows at Jiang Chun and walked into the hall with her arm around his shoulder. Seeing this, Gu Hua was almost angered to death. 3 immortal kings gathered in the Jade Sword sect. Many disciples gathered outside the hall, wanting to see what they looked like. But when the news spread, everyone was shocked. 2 of the 3 immortal kings, the white-robed immortal king and the one ancient immortal king, tore open a spatial crack at the same time to rescue a young man who was only at the 3rd layer of the immortal realm. Even though Jiang Chen's display of strength had convinced them, it was still something they could not accept and even envied. What happened? Nian Chang'e and Mu Yid squeezed through the crowd. After the 2 of them met, they drank and reminisced about the past in the mountain behind the sect. Because of the barrier, they didn't perceive what had happened in front of them. It wasn't until a few jugs of wine had gone down their stomachs that they thought of coming over to see how Jiang Chen was doing. Apprentice Brother Chang'e, don't you know that Jiang Chen came to challenge us? He forced Apprentice Brother Xian Yi and Apprentice Brother Xian Er to use their unique movements. Even the white-clothed Immortal King and the ancient Immortal King came to his rescue. I was wondering why his formation was so ferocious. So it was created by an ancient Immortal King. When Nian Chang'e was brought here, the group of disciples surrounded him and chattered. What? Nian Chang'e frowned. He immediately pushed everyone aside and walked into the main hall. Muya didn't care that this was the sect of Immortal King Xianjun and followed closely behind. The 2 of them directly barged into the main hall. When they saw Jiang Chun sitting there calmly, they immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Jiang Chun, are you injured? Nian Chang'e pulled Jiang Chun up from the chair and carefully checked his body. What injuries could I have? Jiang Chun opened his arms and said with a smile, I heard from the junior brothers in the sect that you fought with Xian Yi and Xian Er and forced them to use their strongest moves. I thought, Nian Chang'e said with a sigh of relief. Chang'e, how is your relationship with this friend? Seeing Nian Chang'e and Jiang Chun talking like this, Xianjun suddenly thought of a plan. Jiang Chun, how about this? You and your friend join our Jade Sword sect. I will provide you with the best cultivation resources. Xianjun looked at Jiang Chun with a fiery gaze. From the performance just now, he was sure that Jiang Chun was the most talented cultivator he had seen in tens of thousands of years. If he could recruit this person into the sect, the talents of Xian Yi and Xian Er would be nothing in front of Jiang Chun. Xianjun was also confident that he could cultivate Jiang Chun into a real Immortal King expert. Jiang Chun was also fully qualified to inherit his legacy. Old thing, you're shameless CK. Don't you feel embarrassed to snatch someone in front of the 2 of us? When these words came out, Bai Xianling and Gu Hua couldn't suppress the anger in their hearts. They directly stood up and pointed at Xianjun's nose and scolded. You, Bai Xianling, don't even want to show your immortal gait. I guess you're not worthy. Xianjun snorted coldly. And you, Gu Hua, don't have a fixed residence. Do you want Jiang Chun to live with you in the bounded domain? Jiang Chun shook his head and sighed. He couldn't argue. The Heaven Secret Pavilion was really difficult to explain in a few words. Jiang Chun, what do you think? Follow us or join the Jade Sword sect? Bai Xianling and Gu Hua looked at Jiang Chun at the same time and asked in unison. When you tell me the truth, then I'll consider if I should join the Jade Sword sect to rest for a few days. Jiang Chun glanced at Xianjun was speechless. He didn't expect Jiang Chun to still be thinking about this matter. All right, since you're not interested, young man, are you interested in joining the Jade Sword sect? You're asking me? Mu Yid pointed at his nose and asked. Of course I'm asking you. Xianjun said with a smile. Since he couldn't rope Jiangchen in, then he would first deal with his friends around him. When the time came, he would let these people slowly nibble away at Jiangchen. Xianjun believed that one day he would be able to get Jiangchen. I'm sorry, but I've already promised First Elder Su Qian to join the Thousand Harmonies sect before I came. Mu Yude replied with a smile. Xianjun stared and crossed his legs, not wanting to say anything else. In the entire Jade Sword City, who wouldn't want to join the Jade Sword sect? Even an outer disciple spot would be fought over. However, he had taken the initiative to invite Qin Nan twice, but was rejected twice. Haha, so you have a day like this too? Guhua couldn't help but mock. A few days ago, when I accepted Jiangchen as my disciple, it was so easy and smooth. After a short conversation, he was accepted under my name. Really? Jiangchen was speechless. He rolled his eyes and looked at Guhua. Did this guy forget how he begged Qin Nan to be his disciple in the spirit array? Cough, cough. Give me some face in front of Xianjun and by Xianling. Seeing Jiangchen's gaze, Guhua coughed softly and said in a low voice that only the two of them could hear. If Jiangchen were to tell the truth, he would be utterly embarrassed. By Xianling harumphed. It's been tens of thousands of years since the three of us last met. Let's use this chance to reunite with Jiangchen. Xianjun was afraid that he would die from anger and immediately changed the topic. Chapter 1798. Under the matchmaking of Xianjun, everyone had a delightful meal in the hall. After the meal, Bai Xinling only stayed in the hall for a short while before she left. Before she left, she warned Jiangchen not to cause any more trouble. She didn't want Jiangchen to delay his business in the unknown land. Xianjun's expression changed slightly after hearing Bai Xuanling's words. Jiangchen was sharp enough to notice it. Could it be that he has been to the unknown territory too? Jiangchen frowned and analyzed casually. He guessed that Xianjun might have encountered something in the unknown territory. After he was injured, ordinary elixirs and medical skills could no longer treat his injuries. He could only use the inner core of the Bathing in Fire Phoenix tribe to treat his injuries. Jiangchen felt that it was possible. However, it was just his guess after all, and he could not verify it. Guhua left not long after Bai Xianling left. Before she left, she gave Jiangchen a few more books about formations in front of the envious eyes of all the disciples of Jade Sword Sect. Jiangchen, wait. Seeing that Jiangchen was about to leave, Xianjun hesitated for a while and stopped him. Immortal King Xianjun, have you changed your mind and decided to tell me? Jiangchen smiled at him and asked warmly. No. Xianjun shook his head and continued. You have many experts behind you now. Didn't anyone tell you that you can't come into contact with those things with your current cultivation? The reason why I didn't tell you about it is because of your cultivation. If Hua Xian were to come here, I would be able to explain it to him. Logically speaking, I was in the wrong. It's just that I was in too much of a hurry back then, and could only resort to this. When you see Clan Chief Hua Xian, apologize to him on my behalf. Got it. Jiangchen nodded. He knew that Xianjun was not targeting him or Hua Xian. Instead, he was targeting Bai Xianling and Guhua who were here today. The two of them made him feel pressured. This is the badge of Jade Sword Sect. If you want to see Nian Chang'e again, you are welcome to come to the sect anytime. With this badge, you can come and go as you wish. Xianjun stretched out his hand, and a blue identity token appeared in his hand. He glanced at it and passed it to Jiangchen. Many thanks, Immortal King Xianjun. Jiangchen put it away and cupped his fists at him. He then nodded at Nian Chang'e before bringing Mu Yude down to the Jade Sword Sect. Looking at Jiangchen's extremely fast back, Xianjun could not help but sigh. When he first met Jiangchen, it was when this kid ascended from the lower realm. In the short span of 1 or 2 years, he had actually gone from an ordinary immortal to a divine immortal. This kind of cultivation speed was unparalleled in the Jade Sword Sect. In fact, in the entire immortal realm, such a person could not be found on one hand. However, such a powerful junior could not become his disciple. Instead, He fell into the hands of Bai Xianling and Gu Hua. For a moment, Xianjun didn't know whether he should be envious or regretful. Recite a long song. When Jiang Chen's figure had completely disappeared from their sight, Xianjun dismissed the disciples that were surrounding the area and turned around to speak. Master, Nian Chang bowed. Do you want to cultivate in the sword tomb? Xianjun asked in a deep voice with his hands behind his back. Yes. Nian Changa was secretly delighted, but on the surface, he still frowned and asked in confusion. But Master, according to the rules of the Immortal Sect, only disciples who have cultivated in the Immortal Sect for more than 5,000 years and have reached the Immortal Venerable Realm have the chance to enter. I'm only a true Immortal and have only been in the Immortal Sect for less than a year. Wouldn't it be against the rules? It's all right. From the moment you entered the Immortal Sect, I've already planned this. Now, it seems that it's time for you to enter the Sword Tomb to cultivate. With your 72 lotuses, you can completely unleash the top immortal arts of the Jade Sword Sect. Perhaps even Xian Yi and Xian Air will be far inferior to you. Xian Jun shook his head. He had seen Jiang Chen's cultivation, so he had to let Nian Changa catch up. Otherwise, he would have been suppressed by Bai Xianling and Gu Hua in terms of disciples. This was something he would never allow to happen. Among the three immortal kings, he was the most high-profile. Could it be that he was waiting for the news to spread in the immortal world that the most high-profile immortal king Xianjun was actually an embroidered pillow and the worst of the three? Obviously, this was not what Xianjun wanted to see. Understood, Master. Nian Changa also knew that Xianjun might have been provoked by Jiang Chen, but this was also what he wanted. Jiang Chen did not leave the Jade Sword City. Instead, he wandered around the town below for half a day, trying to find out news about Xianjun from this group of people. To Jiang Chen's disappointment, these people did not know anything about Xianjun. Most of them had not even seen Xianjun's face. Eastern Region Thousand Harmonies Sect. Jiang Chun returned with Mu Yud. The moment she sensed his cultivation, Huafu had already been waiting outside. Xianjun didn't tell me anything. Facing Huafu, Jiang Chun was a little discouraged, like a scumbag who did not keep his promise to his girlfriend. I guessed it. Huafu's expression was surprisingly calm. He said that he didn't tell me now because my cultivation is too weak and I can't know. Jiang Chun shrugged helplessly and continued. This is the same as what your father told me before. Do you know something? Jiang Chun walked into the sect and suddenly remembered that Huafu was a fifth-layer Immortal King expert. He hurriedly asked, as long as Huafu could say it, then all the mysteries would be solved. You know, I only followed Emperor Qinji. Even after becoming an Immortal King, I have always been in the Tianji sect to protect the sect. I don't know anything about the outside world. However, Emperor Qianji vaguely mentioned to me that in the unknown domain, there is the biggest secret in the entire immortal world. He has been there many times, but without a doubt, he returned disappointed. Hearing Jiang Chen's question, Huafu slowed down and carefully thought about what she had heard or seen in the Tianji sect. Unknown domain. Jiang Chen was not surprised. His mother lived there, and Bai Xianling was there too. She said that she was looking for his mother, but in reality, no one knew what she was doing. Jiang Chen was too lazy to ask, and he knew that Bai Xianling would not tell him. Yes, when I reached the fifth layer of the Immortal King realm, I mentioned to Emperor Qianji that I wanted to learn more about the unknown domain. However, before I could go, Black Sky Emperor came. Huafu nodded, looking disappointed. With her current Immortal Monarch cultivation, she probably did not have the qualifications to enter. It's really complicated. Jiang Chen frowned and said helplessly, It's not complicated. When our cultivation reaches the Immortal King level, we will naturally know. Huafu gently held Jiang Chen's arm and said, When you went to the Jade Sword sect, Bai Xiaoyan and Jiang Yuan returned to a space crack. Chapter 1799. Did you find out anything? Jiang Chun stepped into the hall. There's no news about Hikari. The people of Corpse Cliff are collecting the corpses. They must be immortal venerables or above. Bai Xiaoyan stood up and said with disappointment in her eyes, The corpses of immortal venerables. If I sell the corpses of immortal venerables to them, will I have a chance to visit Corpse Cliff Sect? Jiang Chun rubbed his chin and asked after a while, do you think immortal venerables are weeds on the ground? Su Qian couldn't help but laugh. Yes, every immortal venerable has a high status in their own family or sect. Even if they fall, they will be buried properly. How can they give you the chance to get their corpses? Bai Xiaoyan echoed. I might not be able to find them through ordinary means, but have you forgotten that I'm the young master of Eternal Riverbank and Tianfu Bank? Jiang Chen laughed. You mean to ask these two banks to find the corpses of immortal venerables for you? Bai Xiaoyan instantly understood and asked, Big senior brother, please go to Eternal River City and tell Song Yuanjia about this news. Ask him to find me 2 corpses of immortal venerables within 3 days. If he can't find them, half-step immortal venerables will do as well. I'll go to Tianfu Bank and tell Wei Daxuan. Jiang Chen nodded and cupped his fists at Bai Xiaoyan. The two didn't hesitate. They didn't even drink the tea that Su Qian had just brewed. Their figures flickered and quickly disappeared from the hall. Su Qian hastily reached out to protect the teacup and shook his head with a smile. This brat, he just came back and went out without resting in the sect. He's so reckless when he's young. He's at the 3rd layer of the immortal realm. Why does he need to rest? Well, Fu didn't understand. When she was at the 3rd layer of the immortal realm, she didn't close her eyes for hundreds of years. She sat in the secret chamber of her family and cultivated. Jiang Chen's foundation was even more solid than hers. This brat fought with Xian Jun's men in Jade Sword Sect. Didn't you notice that the immortal qi in his body was a little weak? Su Qian lifted the 2 cups of tea and drank it all. Fire Lotus looked outside worriedly. Hua Fu was preoccupied with asking about Xian Jun, the unknown territory, and the corpse cliff, so she didn't notice Jiang Chen's situation at all. Hearing Su Qian's words, her face turned red with shame. She was obviously Jiang Chen's woman, but she was not as concerned about him as an old man. Tianfu City. It only took Jiang Chen 2 to 3 hours to arrive here. After entering the Wei family's manor, Jiang Chen went straight to Wei Daxuan. Seeing Jiang Chen, Wei Daxuan quickly put down the things in his hands and quickly ran to Jiang Chen to kneel on the ground. Why are you doing this? Jiang Chen was amused by his actions. Young master, I was wrong earlier. I will no longer have any designs on the Flame Phoenix clan. Even if Immortal King Xian Jun puts a sword to my neck, I will not agree. Wei Daxuan kowtowed to the ground, not daring to raise his head. This matter is over. I came today to ask for your help with something else. Jiang Chen raised his hand at him, then sat down on a chair. In front of him were densely packed bills. Jiang Chen only took a glance and felt an incomparable headache. His eyes were also a little sore. Phew! Wei Daxuan heaved a sigh of relief and hurriedly stood up and walked to Jiang Chen. He said, Young master is really joking. If you need anything, just let your subordinates come and report. You don't have to come personally. The situation this time is a little special. Within 3 days, help me collect the corpses of 2 immortal venerables. Can you do it? Jiang Chen didn't beat around the bush. What? Corpses of immortal venerables? Hearing these sensitive words, Wei Daxuan broke out in cold sweat. Can't you do it? Jiang Chen frowned and asked. I can do it. Wei Daxuan immediately agreed. He didn't dare to bargain. If he really angered Jiang Chen, then he would have no way to survive. I'll wait here for you to collect. Jiang Chen stood up and gave him a seat. Wei Daxuan didn't deal with the bills anymore. Instead, he immediately ordered everyone in the Tianfu Bank to use some of their connections to search for the corpses. After sitting in the room for a while, Jiang Chen returned to his room in Tianfu City. The fight with Xian Yi and Xian Er seemed to be evenly matched, but in fact, he had used up all his trump cards and the immortal force in his body was on the verge of exhaustion. If he didn't cultivate and replenish it in time, it would have a certain impact on his cultivation. After holding his breath and concentrating, Jiang Chen's hands gradually emitted a green light. Immediately, with Tianfu City as the center, all the wood attribute spiritual energy within 100 miles converged toward Jiang Chen. It even formed an invisible vortex in the air above the room. Under the effect of the beginning of all beginnings, Jiang Qin's immortal force was quickly replenished. 3 days passed by quickly. During this period of time, there were people coming in and out of Tianfu City. Among them, there were 3 tightly wrapped carriages that were secretly transported to the vicinity of Jiang Qin's room after dark. When Jiang Qin's immortal force was full, it was the morning of the 4th day. After stretching his body, Jiang Qin pushed open the door and walked out. At the door, Wei Dashuan stood there respectfully. "What are you doing here?" Jiang Qin closed the door and asked. "Young lord, I've done what you asked me to do, but..." Wei Dashuan's face revealed a difficult expression. He didn't dare to look at Jiang Qin. "But what?" Jiang Qin continued to ask. "But 3 days is too short. I've mobilized all the resources I can, but only found a 3rd-level immortal venerable corpse. The remaining 2 are half-step immortal venerables. Young lord, why don't you give me 2 more days? I'll definitely be able to do it." Wei Dashuan sighed and braced himself to speak. He had been prepared to be scolded by Jiang Qin before he had come here. Now that he had spoken, he felt the pressure he had been under for the past 3 days had been swept away. "All right, thank you for your hard work." However, Jiang Qin didn't reprimand him. Instead, he patted his shoulder and said, "As long as you obey my orders and don't do those things again, not only will you be fine, even your son will be able to live a good life in the Flame Phoenix clan." "Thank you for your kindness, young lord." Wei Dashuan knelt on the ground with a plop. "Go and bring the corpses here. Remember to tell your men to swallow their words. I don't want to hear the news spread." Jiang Qin waved at him. "Don't worry, young lord. I've already told them." Wei Dashuan hurriedly got up and ran to the side. Not long after, 3 carriages were brought over from the side. After checking them one by one, he confirmed that there was indeed 1 immortal venerable and 2 half-step immortal venerables. Jiang Qin sealed them with a barrier and kept them in his storage ring. Chapter 1800. There's one more thing," Jiang Qin said embarrassedly while stroking the ring. "Young lord, please speak. I can give the order immediately." Wei Dashuan hurriedly ran over. "Do you have a storage ring here? Give me one." Jiang Qin pointed at the thing on his finger and said, "This storage ring was obtained from the Wanshou sect in the tomb of the immortal sovereign. It was impossible to find even one in the entire divination pavilion." "No problem," Wei Dashuan agreed. A few minutes later, he walked in front of Jiang Qin with a sack. "Young lord, this is a batch of storage rings made by our Heaven Province Bank. The best one among them can even fit the entire manor." Wei Dashuan took out a storage ring that was flickering with a faint light and handed it to Jiang Qin. "Not bad." Jiang Qin nodded with satisfaction. After putting the new storage ring on his finger, he aimed the crystal on the old ring at his finger. With a flash of light, everything entered the new ring. He then looked at the sack in front of him. Thinking that the divination pavilion was so poor that perhaps the immortal kings in the pavilion didn't even have a suitable storage ring, Jiang Qin directly picked up the sack and stuffed it into the ring. "Is there any problem?" After doing all this, Jiang Qin clapped his hands and asked, "Of course there's no problem. The whole bank is yours, young lord. It's just a bunch of storage rings. If it's not enough, I'll prepare more for you." Wei Dashuan didn't dare to say a word. "We'll meet again if there's a chance." After saying this, Jiang Qin's figure flashed and disappeared in front of them. After Jiang Qin left, Wei Dashuan warned his subordinates again, telling them to keep everything that happened in the next 3 days a secret. Otherwise, not only would their lives be in danger, even he might lose his life. When Jiang Qin returned to Qianni's sect, Bai Xiaoyan had just arrived. 2 immortal venerables, 2 half-step immortal venerables. "What about you?" Bai Xiaoyan pointed at the sacks on his shoulder and said. His storage ring was too small to hold these corpses, so he had to carry them all the way back. Fortunately, his speed was relatively fast. Otherwise, if others saw that the immortal king was so poor that he had to use a sack to carry things, that would be a great loss of face. 1 immortal venerable and 2 half-step immortal venerables. Jiang Qin pointed at the ring on his finger. Light flashed, and in addition to the 3 pouches, a storage ring had appeared in Jiang Chen's hand. "First senior brother, try this," Jiang Chen said with a smile as he passed it over. "Not bad. It's much more spacious than my plaything." After pouring the things into the new ring, Bai Xiaoyan directly threw the old one out of the door. As an immortal king, using a storage ring of the lowest grade was really too cheap. 3 immortal venerables and 4 half-step immortal venerables. We are now the distinguished guests of Corpsine Cliff. I don't think we will be rejected if we visit their sect. Looking at the sacks in front of him, Jiang Chen's mouth curved into a smile. After resting for a while, Jiang Chen and Bai Xiaoyan continued their journey to Eastern Domain. This time, he didn't bring Huafu along, fearing that Huafu would lose control of herself when she saw the spatial fissure. The moment they stepped into the spatial fissure, Jiang Chen and Bai Xiaoyan were shrouded in black robes. Their chi was also firmly locked. After searching for a while, Jiang Chen set his eyes on an empty stall. "We don't sell anything here. Hurry up and leave." A hoarse voice came from behind the stall. "We don't want to buy anything, but we have something to sell to you." Jiang Chen smiled and said, 3 immortal venerables and 4 half-step immortal venerables. "Do you need them?" And the stall owner was somewhat surprised, but didn't raise his head. "Do you know what sect we are from? If you lie, you won't be able to survive in the immortal world. Since we are telling you this, we must have the goods. If you don't want them, we'll leave now." Jiang Chen pulled Bai Xiaoyan's arm, and the two of them turned and left at the same time. "Wait, 2 billion immortal jade for immortal venerables and 1 billion for half-step immortal venerables." The hoarse voice of the stall owner sounded again. "If you accept this price, I'll let my disciple bring you back to the sect. We'll exchange the money and the goods at the same time." What a huge profit! Bai Xiaoyan's eyes, which were hidden under the mask, were almost shining. In just 3 days' time, he had earned 6 billion immortal jade. This was the first time he had encountered such a profitable business. If it wasn't for his restraint, he would have turned around and established a long-term partnership with the people of Corpse Cliff. "No problem." Jiang Chen was happy to agree. Being able to enter the inner part of Corpse Cliff without asking would lessen the other party's suspicion. There's something fishy about these two possessing so many corpses of immortal venerables. Bring them back to the sect and report the situation to the Great Elder. If it's true, then it's fine. If it's false, then just kill them. The stall owner called the 2 disciples to him and whispered, "Understood." The disciple nodded. "2 seniors, please come with us." Another disciple stepped forward and said to Jiang Chen. Following them, Jiang Chen and Bai Xiaoyan left the spatial crack. On the way, they saw many people heading there. About 2 hours later, Jiang Chen was standing at the gate of the Corpse Cliff again. Seeing the sect shrouded in fog and sitting on the edge of the cliff, Jiang Chen thought of the Black Sect's sect master. Last time, it was because of him that Jiang Chen ruined his plan. But this time, Jiang Chen wanted to fight him again. With his current strength, he wouldn't be powerless against his soul avatar. He might even be able to defeat it. 2 seniors, please." Seeing Jiang Chen standing there, the disciple continued. After entering the sect, the disciple quickly told the news to the Great Elder, Shircho. 7 corpses of immortal venerables came at once. Shircho was surprised and quickly rushed out. In the tens of thousands of years of existence, Corpse Cliff had received hundreds of corpses of immortal venerables. But almost every time, there was only 1 corpse. Most of them were from some poor sects or clans. After their immortal venerables died, they used their corpses to exchange for some immortal jades. But to be able to take out 7 corpses at once, it must be a powerful force in the immortal world. Would such a force be lacking in immortal jades? Although he was suspicious, Shircho walked to Jiang Chen and used his immortal power to sense him. But he found that the person in front of him didn't even reveal a trace of aura. "Where's the thing?" Shircho asked. "Elder, we came from afar to the Eastern Domain to see your people. Now, we've followed your disciple to the sect. Aren't you going to invite us in?" Jiang Chen asked in a low voice. "It's this old man's negligence. 2 seniors, please come in. Rest for a while before making the deal." Shircho moved aside, You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.